What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Run the Ball podcast for the time being. And we are live on two channels, the Philly Talk podcast, aka Run the Ball podcast, and Run It Back. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the people who don't know you on my channel.
Yes, sir. DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly, man. Home of the most brutally honest Philly sports takes on YouTube. Some people don't like it. You know what it is, man.
Oh man.
I like to Run the Ball podcast, so hopefully Nick Sirianni stumbles upon that when he's not watching game tape.
Or watching only pass plays, right? My goodness. So the Eagles come out this season, quarter point would have been 4, but then, we got the extending game and all that. But we were talking even in the off season, me, you, all the Eagle content creators and the people in the chat, how would we fare in the first 6 games? Now I didn't think Dallas would be this good. I thought they had firepower. I just didn't think that Dallas would put it together because I've watched Dallas for 20 some years, but they did. And I can't front. They're a legit team until proven otherwise. But the schedule we had going 2-4, does that surprise you more? Or is that, are you mad about that, knowing our opponents and our team?
From the beginning, if we're speaking just from what I thought in the offseason, it's kind of on pace for what I expected. And then the Atlanta game happened. And then I was like, oh my God, I think we might be good. Oh my God, the brand new coaching staff, everything looks perfect. Maybe I was wrong. And then I started to think like, people saying 8 wins, maybe they're right. Maybe people are right with the 8 wins. And then just, and yeah, I mean, I didn't know. Here's the thing. I thought we would move the ball. I thought Jalen Hurts was going to be a lot better than he's looked so far. And I thought our defense was just going to be bad and we were going to lose games like 40-32, stuff like that, which we did lose 2 games like that, back-to-back 40-point games. But the coaching staff and the system and everything is way worse than I thought it was ever going to be. So a little bit less than I expected as far as what the team looks like, but I guess the record is on pace for what I expected.
Yeah, I have exact words me saying, and I wasn't trying to figure out which game was which. I might have said this one, but I was on record multiple times saying if the Philadelphia Eagles come out 3-3, well then I think that's even more of a wow, you better watch out a little bit. Now, again, context always plays a part. I can't even every win we got, I came out of it upset in the sense of what I seen because I don't believe winning football transpires without my podcast name, Running the Ball. With that being said, I said 3-3. I would have been more than happy because of Dallas in the beginning was in Dallas, and that one's always a tough one for us. The fact that I thought the Niners would be pretty decent and the 2 Super Bowl teams. So I said if we go 3-3, people should watch out because the back end. So 2-4 is where I had us, but again, it didn't feel like this. I thought the 2-4 would feel a little bit better. And we have some problems, and that's one of the biggest things. Sirianni or Hurts. Now, it could be a mixture of both. But if you had to say one right now, what is the biggest problem to you, Sirianni or Hurts?
It absolutely has to be. You might not even expect it. Well, you probably do expect this answer. The biggest problem is Nick Sirianni. I've never seen an NFL coach do what this guy's doing, try to run what he's trying to run, refuse to adjust at all when it's clearly not working. Even though Doug Peterson last year refused to adjust, but he was more on like, you could just kind of tell he was like, yeah, I'm tired of this management staff. I'm just going to wait for these dudes to fire me. He kind of seemed like he didn't care what was happening in the game at all. Nick Sirianni's actually trying to win, obviously being a first-year head coach. And it's just the philosophy is not working at all. It's not tailored to the quarterback's strengths. It's not tailored to the quarterback's weaknesses. Nothing makes any sense. He's alienating a running back that should be a 1,000-yard rusher. I'm absolutely blown away by what Nick Sirianni's doing. So, all the stuff that I talk about, Jalen Hurts deficiencies and everything like that, like, I don't think you're winning anything with this coach, unless you got Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes maybe that can handle not running the ball at all.
Correct. And you hit it on the nail. I think, again, I'm a Jalen Hurts guy, no doubt about it, but I can't just deny what's in front of me. And I do believe we're coming off the worst game that he's played this season. He's missed people before and things of that sort. But in that game, it was evident that, when I do the play by play, or even when I watch football, when I start flinching for every pass, that's when I start not to feel good. And I was doing
Uh,
that in the play-by-play in front of everybody that was there, whether it was Buck fans, some reason Cowboy fans always find a way on these channels. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Um, and all that stuff. I was starting to do the flinching. That was Carson Wentz at the end of his tenure. Not saying Carson Wentz now because I know he's shining over there 2 weeks in a row. That's neither here or there. But you can again hide deficiencies in play calling. But if there's any Nick Sirianni defenders out there with his route concepts and things like that, maybe Jalen is missing some of the throws that would make the offense look better. So I think it go hand in hand. But the best friend
yeah,
to a quarterback is a run game. And for a coach just to refuse to do a half of football, like there's
right.
run plays and there's pass plays. And for you to not do that, it puts a lot more on the quarterback's plate, because now you got linebackers that don't worry about crashing. You got you got probably defensive ends who can drop back out on zone and do things that you wouldn't see other teams do because of the lack of running.
Uh
Um, but when you look at Jalen Hurts, what would you say his best game was? Do you think it's more the Chiefs or the Falcons?
huh. I thought the Falcons game was great, but I thought a lot of those plays were made by himself. Abandoning the play and making things happen on the run and stuff like that. So maybe that was the game plan. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the Falcons secondary was just really bad at reacting to him getting out of the pocket and making plays on the run. But yeah, I'd say the Falcons game was his best game. I mean, maybe our defense dominating their offense made that look a little bit better. Um, but T. Watkins, my God, T. Watkins, man, MVP, bro. I don't even know what to say to that, bro.
He's
Thank
like,
you
I
for
don't
that,
got
man.
that. Where's the MVP button? Where's the MVP button?
Nobody was touching his last one. I get nobody's touching that one either, man. A rookie QB should never be with an inexperienced coach. Bottom line, yeah, I agree with that, man. And T. Watkins, you don't have to do all that, but I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Damn, that's crazy super chat right there. Anyway, yeah, so it just absolutely doesn't make sense when you say, like, it's common sense. I could probably ask a 10-year-old, what should you do with a quarterback that's struggling to throw the ball? You should hand it off. Like, it's like the most basic part of football. And this guy's doing the opposite. He's taking a quarterback that's struggling throwing the ball and making him throw more and not running the ball at all. It makes no sense at all. I can't figure it out. Like, there's coaches that run the ball too heavy and don't let the quarterback, get out there and let it fly and go down the field and all this stuff out of playing conservatively or too conservatively. This guy's the opposite, and it's just not making any sense. And honestly, 2-4, the Carolina game was terrible. So if Sam Darnold didn't absolutely stink in the last couple plays of that game, we'd be 1-5, and that's probably where we should be, honestly, because I feel like this is more. I'm an Eagles fan, but I don't even like that we won that Carolina game, because it gives a little bit more false perception to, like, well, we did this and this and we won, we pulled it out in the end. Yeah, but everything was bad. The coach was bad from start to finish. I don't know what else to say.
It was, and I agree there. But then I also look at things like, not the Falcons. The Niners game really didn't go our way either, and that was one of the games that looked like Carolina, right? It looked like Carolina where the defense was doing what it needed to do. Besides the 2 9-play drives that Jimmy G got, and we didn't have turnovers, but still the defense was the biggest part of the Niners and Carolina game, that why we stayed in the game. And we lost a close one. We won a close one because, we are a Barnett personal foul from just being in this situation. Jimmy G, 3rd and 15. And, hey, kudos to Jimmy G if he gets a 3rd and 15. But if you give Jalen Hurts the ball, maybe he makes up and happens. And listen, I do not agree with Colin Cowherd most of the time, but he had a really good take. I was going to tag you in on Twitter, but I don't think I did. It was just the fact that right now you can clearly see that there's deficiencies in Jalen Hurts passing. But what Jalen offers you as a playmaker can kind of hide that if you're doing it right with the right coaches.
Yeah.
And in the process of him being more of a playmaker, a game manager that makes some plays at the end of the game, a guy who just knows how to win, you can try to curve that. But as we talked about earlier, I don't have faith in his coaching staff being able to get the best passing ability out of Jalen Hurts, if there's even that there. It's not as easy to change a quarterback that does certain things, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I think Lamar Jackson has been a little bit better as a passer each year. He's still not the best, but he's a work in progress, but you can see it getting better. He just had his first double 300-yard game this season.
Right.
And then you go back to like Josh Allen as a rookie and all that. Again, they were more highly touted guys. But, you know, Lamar Jackson was told to be a receiver. He was like legitimately told to be a receiver. Now, Hurts don't run like him, which is part of that factor. But I do not have no faith in this coaching staff being able to turn around a guy who needs to do three things. He needs to anticipate throws more. He needs to stop hitting the panic button. And then you got to work on some touch. And I think some of the touches, stop throwing with your upper body and use your whole body. His footwork is bad.
That's what I'm saying. And when you talk about Jackson and Josh Allen, those guys' deficiencies coming in was mainly accuracy and decision making, pretty much. But both of those guys had a rocket, like straight off the bat. They can just roll out of the pocket, fire the ball 70 yards. Lamar Jackson reminds me of Michael Vick. He just flings it. You know what I mean? And Jalen Hurts, a couple weeks ago, it was a Hail Mary. What game was it, man? This guy, it felt like he took 25 seconds to get all of his might to fire the ball this hard, and it didn't even land in bounds. You know, like he just doesn't have that rocket. He can throw it pretty far, and sometimes he lets it go quick, and it's a 50-yard bomb on the money. So it blows my mind when it is that, but I feel like more so than not, he puts like his whole body into a throw, and you just don't even really know where it's going, if it's even going to be close or not. And I don't know what to say. I do know that I personally don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I think he's going to be a good backup for his career, a guy that can come in 2-3 games when you need him. He can get it done. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. He can score. He can put the ball in the end zone. I don't think there's ever been a quarterback that's mainly a rusher that doesn't have an accurate ball that can win a Super Bowl or be a superstar kind of franchise quarterback. But you can win games with him, especially with the rest of this schedule, if you're designing the offense right. So if you're trying to just win as many games as you can this year, which they're better off not, to be honest with you. But if Nick Sirianni wanted to save himself as a coach and have people say, hey, look what he did with the guy that was compared to Tim Tebow coming out, and look how many games he won. If he was trying to up his resume as a coach, you could win games if you called it right, but he's just doing everything wrong for what Jalen Hurts' deficiencies are. And I don't have any explanation for Hurts' inconsistency, because like I said, sometimes he throws the ball and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? It was a rocket with pressure in his face right in the guy's hands. And then another one's just so far off target. I don't know where the inconsistency comes from.
Yeah, and now being able to look at the all-22, which I wanted to do something with that today, but I'll see if I can do it tomorrow. A lot of it comes with him not staying in the pocket. Again, his panic button is hit far too often. And again, how do you teach that? Well, it's not my specialty, but it has to be able to be taught. I mean, at the end of the day, you just need the right people to do that. And you also need an offensive line that he can trust. Our offensive line has been better than I would have thought with all the injuries on it. Yeah. But in that Bucks game, Shaq Barrett was getting free a couple of times, whether it was a free blitzer, Andre Dillard, and
the play where he just stands there.
Yeah, the play where he doesn't even snap. The ball snapped, and he just like, are we playing football? I was chilling. There's still definitely a lot to be desired. But again, if you got a guy like that, right, and you're running the ball hefty, you're doing play action, the linebackers respect that. The offensive line is giving them time, because guess what? He's going to hit that panic button, and that panic button, that little bit of juking in the backfield is when he missed the guy streaking open. Or, you think he's looking down the field, but he's really running to the right, and he's really now only paying attention to the right side, not the left. All that plays into it. And we're not set up with a great offensive line, a running back, and a coach who's going to say, you know what, Jalen's well-being is more important. We need to keep his confidence high, this, that, and the third. Just look, there's no reason why we should be inside the 5 and not score. With the running backs we
No.
have, Gainwell being as used and as good as he is with Sanders, and the fact that you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, that's where the RPO should be used. And even Jalen Hurts' feet, it's 100% a weapon.
It is, absolutely. And there's no scripted plays. That's what's really annoying me about this team, because there should be scripted QB keepers where lineman pull or whatever happens, there should be things that are supposed to happen for him to keep the ball and get somewhere. There should be plays where he's supposed to hand it off for a off tackle, Miles Sanders run or whoever, Gainwell. There should be scripted plays, especially for an inexperienced quarterback. Why are you putting everything on the RPO, making a guy that's never had this much responsibility, at least in the NFL, make the decision every play? And then when you get into the fourth quarter and Miles Sanders has one carry, you're looking at the play calling, and it is the play calling because it's all RPO, but then it's also, why the hell isn't Jalen Hurts giving him the ball on any of these run pass option plays?
Yeah, I will give it to you. Just watching the game live, there were times where I thought that Jalen should have let it go. He should have let it go. In the Bucks game, I think it was more early on. Again, I think, and in that play, all Jalen Hurts is really reading is the defensive end. The defensive end that will be crashing on the side that Miles will go. If the defensive end crashes, he pulls it. And I think also part of the reason he's pulling it, and when they're going to watch the tape, Nick Sirianni's like, dang, okay, I want you to run it, because first of all, Nick should just be the grown-up in the room and call a run. But he could be telling Jalen Hurts to run it. But at the end of the day, teams are forcing Jalen Hurts to keep it because they think it's easier to beat us that way. I think teams are trying to say, all right, we're going to see if Jalen Hurts can throw. And they are crashing that defensive end on purpose. That's right there where Nick should say, every single defensive end is crashing. They're baiting us to throw it. You know what? I'm going to call some runs. I'm going to call some runs because I'm not going to be baited into doing that, which he is every single game. But I want to show you this real quick. And Jalen Hurts, this is in the 6 games, but I just want to show you how bad Tim Tebow was, right? Like, this is the thing. You could say he's a now and date Tim Tebow, but Tim Tebow was legitly bad.
No, you're right.
Like, look at this. So in 6 games to the 11 games, they're like 300 yards. They're like less than 300 yards apart. They're like 250 yards apart with 5 different games. And look, even Jalen's first year in the first 3 starts, he had like 50-something% completion percentage. He had a 46 completion percentage. With
that is
12
unbelievable.
And look, Jalen Hurts is still yards per attempt is 7.1, which you really, I mean, like the top 15 quarterbacks in the league all have at least 7 or above for yards per attempt, and then 11.4 yards for completion compared to 4.9 and 6.5. So like, that's the only reason. And listen, you really got, what's his name? He's in the chat right now. Ted Nicholas. He be always in my streams talking about Tebow, and I ain't mad at the game. I'm all about a good joke.
Yeah. Instead of 2.0, I should say Tim Tebow squared or something like that. Like better than Tim Tebow, but just Tim Tebow-esque.
Right? Esque. Yeah,
because Tim Tebow was hard to watch. He had that long wind up. There was nothing good about how he played quarterback, and I don't even know how he ended up playing quarterback in the NFL. To be honest with you,
it was all because it is. It was all because it is. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what reminds me too with Hurts and his over the top supporters, or the people that get so mad when you talk bad about him. It's the same things they always said about Tebow is he's a leader, he's a winner, he's the perfect kind of guy you want on your team. Like, I agree with all of that, bro. I'm talking about him throwing a football and hitting a wide open target. But clearly, and thank you for bringing these numbers up, because I probably, you're right, I probably shouldn't even use the name Tim Tebow, because that's bad right there. Wow.
Yeah. See,
4.9 yards per average.
Yes. And so that was bad. And the thing is this though, see, if you're gonna say that Jalen Hurts is bad, 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 and he makes a good throw, it's cool. But he makes an actual hard NFL throw, like the throw to Quez Watkins on the sideline running out of bounds, or this, that, and the third. Tim Tebow's best throw was a 5-yard slant that Demaryius Thomas took it 80 yards to the house. So it's different too, how the play's made. Jalen Hurts does things you're like, wow, but then he does 3 things inconsistent, and you're like, you can't do that. But that's the thing. I believe with a structure, right? Because he's only so young, the Eagles are in a bad situation and a good situation at the same time, right? They got a guy who looks to be a guy who's willing to put in the work in Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah,
but
he is.
But we got to figure out if it's going to be in our timetable of we got a lot of capital. This defense can use 3 first-round picks into the defense. Not saying Laurie and Howie would do that, but it could. See, the offense is young. The defense is getting old. Old.
I absolutely think they should do that, especially because of this quarterback class, at least what everyone's talking about. And I'm not a huge college football guy, but I've done a little bit of research, watched some highlights on the biggest names and all this stuff. And there's nobody that stands out. There's nobody that is like a Joe Burrow coming out. So, I mean, I would be happy with that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to mess it up again, and that'll be the final straw. But that's depressing too, because how many times in 20 years do you have 3 first-round picks? If that Carson Wentz pick ends up being what we want it to be, how often do you get this opportunity? And you could have a Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and whoever else type of draft. That would be amazing, right? And then you could take another season and maybe Nick Sirianni's replaced with somebody that runs the ball or something like that. And
that's you could fill out on your resume, and we all love you.
You could give him another year then and be like, okay, here's his second full season with a different coach and a stronger defense. And now we'll see. And I'm not against that either. Like I knew that after the Super Bowl and the couple years were trending downwards, I knew it's going to be a rebuild. Like I know Eagles fans, like we won the Super Bowl and we want to be good all the time. And even in the 2000s, we were good all the time. We didn't win the Super Bowl, but we were always a good team. So we're really not used to this. So we want to be good every year. Every year we hype ourselves up. But I'm ready. I'm expecting, 3-4 years of trying to figure it out. And maybe managers out the door, maybe coaches out the door, maybe whatever else. So I don't know where I started this opinion with or where I'm going with it, but I don't know what's going to happen. This is the one time, that I'm like, I have no clue what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm really nervous to think about it.
Yeah, and although I would too. Look, at the end of the day, and this is what I'm trying to tell people, it doesn't matter what me, you, the fans want. How the upper manager is going to make a decision on Jalen Hurts, whether we like it or not. We do have a front office that cares about having a quarterback that they believe can do it all. And it's going to be hard for me to even predict Jalen Hurts by the end of the season being able to do it all. I've said multiple times in my videos, I want to see from start 6 to 9 to 15. Wow. Last week, in the beginning of the season, Jalen Hurts would have held that ball longer. He wouldn't have let it rip. A lot of times you hear, I don't get to hear the announcers, but I'm thinking just let it rip. Let it rip.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
A lot of those deep balls that he misses, if he would just let it fly when the receiver's on the hip, that Rager throw last week, like if he just lets it fly, and it was way late. I don't know why he holds it as long as he does, but that is something you can train and work on. So, I don't know if it's, I always say he can't throw just because of the how bad they look in situations like that, but it might just be timing. Maybe the ball's not insanely inaccurate. Maybe it's almost 3 whole seconds too late. And maybe that is something you can work on. So I don't know. I would like to find a quarterback that's comparable. I know there's a couple that we're comparing him to, but I would like to find one that's comparable, that improved, in his second, third, fourth year.
Yeah. And again, you're talking about a guy who's a second round pick who really should have been probably a third round pick, according to the scout stuff. But real quick, shout to GD with the $10 super chat. The Eagles need to draft all defensive players. Their competition, the Cowboys, have all their offensive weapons under contract for years to come. They will be explosive for a while. And yeah, we're gonna have to eventually look at replacing the Darius Slays, the Fletcher Cox, the Brandon Grahams, the ghost of Ryan Kerrigan, all these guys. And that definitely starts on the defensive side. Right now, look, regardless of how we feel about Jalen Hurts, right? You got your receiving core is young, you know. You started already replacing the offensive line. You signed Jordan Mailata to a long-term deal. He's young and he's Australian, so he's gonna age good, except for Ben Simmons. You got Landon Dickerson over there. You still got guys like Driscoll and Herbig, who now that we see Lane Johnson, and shout to Lane Johnson for coming back, you know what I mean? You know, mental health is mental health. But you know, we saw Herbig and Driscoll do good. They're young guys. So I think a guy like Jeff Stoutland who got to do some work with Herbig and Driscoll, you know, you got Dallas Goedert now we're going to probably sign. So everybody's young on offense. The defense is bad. But again, if you don't have a legit quarterback in this league, you're not going to be in the upper echelons. When you look at the top 12 to 13 teams, normally have the top 12 to 13 quarterbacks. You might have one scenario where a defense is so good that it can make somebody else slip in. So that is where you want to aim to be, but nobody expects that to happen right away. It's about, do you have the right people in place to get him? And listen, one read and run. Actually, I'd rather a guy be a one read and run. One read and run than a guy who just is a very bad thrower to football, because no matter what you say, one read and run is a panic button and not being able to read defenses. Well, in third grade, I learned how to do math better each year. And NFL defenses are complicated compared to college defenses. As simple as that, especially where Jalen played. You know, he played in a no defense conference and he had CeeDee Lamb. Go ahead and be great. You know what I mean? Go ahead and be great. When CeeDee's not open, I'll run. So he is coming from a spot where there wasn't that much defense in the conference. He had the best receiver in the draft, and I still believe CeeDee Lamb was the best receiver. Justin Jefferson was great, but CeeDee is a problem. Yeah. And I cry every night that, you know, I see him play for the Cowboys. With all that being said, he has to say, okay, NFL's more complicated. Plus, I love Devontae Smith, but he's a beast and he can route run like crazy, but he's a different breed than CeeDee. CeeDee was going to go up and get it. And although I think Smith's hand's great, he's more of a guy who's going to get open and get you to be able to hit him and strive and all that, not just go up and get it like CeeDee. So he's dealing with something he's never did. And if you look at his college stats, you're like, wow, he was great because of all that, right? One read was susceptible in college. And so when you say he's played quarterback his whole life, if he didn't learn it, he's not going to. Here's my rebuttal to that. In high school and college, he was more athletic and had better people on his team where he didn't have to learn it. Yeah. So is it he can't learn it or he didn't have to learn it to be successful? That's where I need to know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, hey man, that's like Ben Simmons' jump shot. You know what I mean?
I knew
he never had to. You know, he didn't have to do it in high school. He didn't have to do it in college. Now you get NBA. Oh, can he learn how to do it?
But the crazy thing is he did it a little in college. He had a little mini jumper in college.
I watched a lot of Ben Simmons LSU. I don't remember. I don't remember any jump shots. No.
He did it in the summer league.
Yeah, he did, and then it all went away. But I mean, yeah, I don't. You're right. It's something you can work on. The college, you know, his numbers at Oklahoma were so much better than his numbers at Alabama. And that's something that's interesting to me too, which tells me that a coaching change and a system change took him to another level. So if this coach and this system is really bad for him, maybe a coaching change and a system change helps him out and takes him to another level. I do think in college football, you know, when you're really good at running the football, you can kind of just, I mean, you know, how many NFL level players are on each defense, you know, like one or two, you know what I mean? So he's really just running through everybody. And then you get to the NFL where everybody's that much better and the linebackers are big and except for ours, but most of the linebackers
against our linebackers, right? He
yeah. He would run Alex Singleton out of the building. It's hard for me to assess, man. I hope he can get better, but I'm really just seeing gadget guy, backup quarterback kind of combo, guy that can move the ball down the field. But I'm not anytime. It seems to me like anytime he's actually in a clean pocket with a clean throw, that's when he has trouble. That's the thing about it. Like it seems like when it's a reflex, when there's a guy in his face and he just has to let it fly without thinking, it's like boom, it's on the money. When he has that like time to sit there and think about it, it doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. And you said something that if I wanted to be just the only hurt supporter, I would let you go with because you actually lean to my side. But in saying something, I agree with one thing. Listen, I think Lincoln Riley is a good coach, and I think again Oklahoma had the offense to open him up. So I think, and he was older. He was older and smarter, wiser, whatever. But you also got to remember, I just said, Oklahoma don't play many defenses. And in Alabama, he was playing the best defenses in college football. So to one of your points is when he plays tough defenses, he goes back to himself. And Alabama played against the LSUs and the Clemsons and stuff of that sort. So for your argument, that is 100% too. But again, I just think that, somebody who had it, he didn't have to learn it. And you can clearly see he doesn't have that in his arsenal. He has the overall talent to make some throws because he obviously does. You just type in highlights, you'll see a handful of throws where you don't see Teddy Bridgewater make. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Who, it is what it is. But he does things that you can't win football games with when it comes to sometimes time and he needs to learn that he has to throw people open. This is the NFL. They're not going to get open by 5 yards. So you got to throw them open. And I think that is something that he's just either going to have to adjust to. But I think you're really going to be able to see more of a failure to do it as the season goes by or more. So like I said, I'm a person right now where I'm right here. You know what I mean? When I jump off ship, I jump off ship. You know what I mean? Ask the Carson Wentz guys. But I don't think I'm ready to jump off ship yet. But I don't have trust in this coaching staff. But real quick, shout out to Aaron Cabbage with the $10 super chat. Coming to the defense. Jalen has started 10 games. He's practically a rookie and is better statistically than most rookies in this year's class. Give the offense as a whole, even Nick Sirianni, a year or two. I think we lose Sanders then. You know what I mean? Sanders is already out.
Yeah, you lost me on the offense as a whole. If you're including the coach, you lost me because I'm not seeing anything from this guy that's telling me he should be here next year. I'm just not. It's crazy to me. But speaking of the coach, I am like wondering, if Jalen Hurts can improve, is this coaching staff the one to help him improve, right? Like, what are they doing in practice? Are they taking him into the film room and showing him those plays and saying, like, look, this is where you should have released the ball right here. You released the ball 1.7 seconds later right here than the man's beat, and then take him on the field and go through the drills of letting it fly when the receivers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an NFL coach, but I think I could probably figure out how to show him what he's doing and what he should be doing. Nick Sirianni can't even figure out that you need to run the ball in a football game. So are they even doing the right things in practice to show him what he's doing wrong? I'm just seeing the same thing every single week. Nothing's changing. The coach isn't changing. The quarterback's kind of the same. I'm not seeing improvement at all. I don't know. I got no faith in the coaching staff at all.
Yeah, and that's where, listen, we see it. Players go other places and succeed, and players don't do well in certain situations. And that is solely on what we just talked about. I don't have faith in that. But I'm not saying just because we tell Jalen Hurts these things, he's going to be able to do it. Touch passes are still touch passes. I think there's always going to be, Jalen Hurts is always going to be that guy who does float one a little bit, right? But I just want him to be able to see the field better. I think if he stops panicking and sees the field better, and that also comes in with chemistry, believing in your team. He has all new offensive linemen and all new skill players. It is young. I just don't like the gel of this team when it comes to the coaches because I believe you need a run game. You just need a run game. I think Tom Brady's worst game last year was a game where they ran the ball 4 times. And I laughed and I thought, hey, wow, even Doug Peterson's better than that. And we're better. We beat that. Like, we ran the ball 3 times in a game. It's 88 years. Like, you can't make history in the wrong way. And so that's why I can't get too excited about a win. I'm just like, really?
Yeah. And I really thought Miles Sanders and Gainwell was going to be a nice 1-2 punch. And then people are also saying, like, we need a goal line guy. They should be bringing Jordan Howard off the he's not even using the guys that he has. He's not going to give the ball to Jordan Howard. He's not even giving the ball to, like, it's just bad. But I really thought that was going to be a good 1-2 punch. And I, for the life of me, can't figure out what the hell he's doing or what he's thinking. And then he sits up here in the press conferences and, like, dude, I can't handle his on-field play calling. I can't even, it's like my confusion multiplies by 10 when I hear him try to explain himself. Like, and we can go back to when the guy said he measures players' competitiveness by playing rock, paper, scissors. And I had a rant on YouTube about that, and people couldn't believe that I was ranting about this guy saying rock, paper, scissors. They were like, there's no way you're losing your mind because this guy said this. And I was like, no, you don't understand the level of how, first of all, incorrect that is. There's rock, paper, scissors is not a competitive game. There's no skill involved at all. It's totally random. Like, the level of stupidity that hit me with, I couldn't believe. And now it's all making sense as we go through. Like, this guy seems like he has no clue what he's doing on the field. And then when he tries to explain it, it's like, wait a minute, is he even on this planet?
Yeah. It's hard because he talks for like 5 minutes to get to just the 30-second answer. But this is what really is the red flags. Like, he admitted a couple times he gets lost. He admitted he got lost. He kind of admits he forgets about players. Like, oh yeah, I know we got to get Miles Sanders involved. No, you don't. Like, you can't.
Yeah, and he said, and that's why. And that's why there towards the end of the game when we started getting them the ball, and those good things happened. Like, that's what we're saying to you. You waited the whole game to give him the ball. Don't try to use it on your side like you did something good by giving him the ball later in the game. We're saying, why didn't you give him the ball the first quarter? And then he goes into the whole, like, yeah, we had it at about like 36% and we want to be at like 38%, but it's subjective. Sometimes it's like 27%. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about with the percentages and the math equations and all this nonsense? Like, you just, dude, ask Madden. Literally, it would be better. Just push the X button and you're going to get some run plays in there.
Yeah, it's bad. It's horrible. Shout out to Aaron Cabbage with the $4.99 super chat. He said, not including the coaching. I meant the players. Hey, shout out to you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Shout out to It's Your Boy with a $9.99 super chat. He said, rush trade. He's an elite quarterback. Y'all have weapons in the offensive line for him. Negative is he only has so much time being elite, and dude is a lot of money. Eagles focus on defense in the draft and free agency. Yeah, I mean, what is Russ? I know he's hurt, right? Russ got hurt. How many
he's out he was out for 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, because I drafted him in fantasy. That's what happened. So basically, I dominated the first game of the season. Russell Wilson goes out for 8 weeks. Then you know who my backup was? Baker Mayfield, who went out this week. I'm never playing fantasy football again, but that's what happened with Russell Wilson, and it's because I drafted him in fantasy football. So if I could apologize to him personally, I would. But there was a thing, in the offseason that he was requesting a trade, or there was some kind of thing going on with him and the coaching staff and the management, and then they cleaned it up before the season started. So is that still a thing? Is that what he's saying?
After an injury, he started really looking at things, seeing his age and all that. But listen, Russ got a no trade clause, so he would have to want to go there, right? And let's be honest, if we only win a cup, he's gonna want to go to a game. He's gonna want to be a Tom Brady. He's gonna want to look around the league and say, who needs a quarterback? Like, if the Niners can never stay healthy, they get a quarterback, they might be good, something of that sort. Listen, I and that's the crazy thing, right? And everybody's like, we can go get Aaron Rodgers, we can get Russell Wilson. I'm like, listen. Although it sounds good, bro, right now the Eagles got to show that they're competent. If we can, and that's the one thing. I will say this, though. Football is easier turned around than other sports. You could turn a football team around quickly if you have the right management. Now, I don't know if we have the right management because you've seen teams like the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Browns before this year. When they were in the dump, they were in the dump for a long time. I'm talking about 5+. I'm not trying to do no 5-year sentence of mediocrity. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether that is Howie or these guys got to get out of here, but something got to give.
Because they would get to the top of the draft every year and take like a wide receiver, and like your defense is trash, your offensive line's trash, everything's trash. You're taking the best wide receiver in the draft. This makes no sense. So when they finally started to trade down and accumulate all those picks and build the defensive line, offensive line, and all that stuff, made sense.
True. Shout out to I Shine 101 with the $5 super chat. He said, to be honest, I feel Sirianni is a puppet for how we guaranteed. And that's another scary thing. We did hear the reports that we beat the Packers. Doug ran the ball and they called him and they punished him. They gave him no supper or no dinner, or whatever you want to call it. They got mad that we won the game running the ball. They want to be a pass team, although we ran the ball to our Super Bowl. We were third in the NFL in rushing. So, I mean, like, if Laurie, if you're a football guy, just go back and watch what you did,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are the ones in charge here, and some people are saying that Sirianni's just a yes man, and they're basically calling the plays from the top and all this stuff, like, why would those guys, even though I don't look at those two and think that they're some kind of football mind, but they, Howie's the one that signed LeGarrette Blount and these guys to have this strong running game, and you had a goal line rusher, you had who were the running backs that year? What was it? Jordan Howard that year? I don't remember. Corey Clement was in there.
Yeah. And Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, traded for him, right? So why would, if Howie Roseman was the one calling the plays right now, why would he be like, yeah, let's never run the ball, because that's how I won the Super Bowl, was by running the ball.
That's why it's hard. Listen, I did hear the murmurs of the Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie want to be a passing team, Doug, da-da-da-da. But even at that time, I didn't let it go to my head too much because it didn't make sense. Listen, no matter how much they think they know about football, they make the money because they're smart, right? And so any smart person who has success should automatically look back into the last time I had success and just try to duplicate that, right? That's what you should try to do. I don't know why would you want to go away for something that was successful. I understand doing something over and over and then it's not working and then moving on, but you haven't had the run game you had in 17 since, and it shows. It shows. Yeah. Shout out to Victor, though, with the $5 super chat. He said, who had similar stats to Kyler Murray in his first season as a rookie, too? The guy sitting on our bench. He deserves a chance. Gardner Minshew, right?
Hey, he's 25 years old, man.
Oh, I knew that was going to come up eventually.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, people say I flip-flop, but it's because I change my mind all the time, because I'm not stuck to... Like I told you before we got on here, I'm not attached to a player. I'm not stuck to an opinion. I just try to call it like I see it. And in the beginning, I was like, this season belongs to Jalen Hurts. Nobody better be calling for Gardner Minshew. I don't want to hear it. And 5 games in, I'm like, Gardner Minshew might have made that throw right there. You know what I mean? And you watch his highlights of Jacksonville that year, and that was a terrible team with no offensive line. He's got a deep ball, and he puts it on the money.
Yeah. He was good that year. I'm not even gonna front. I think the last year when he had to come in and do something, and he kind of reverted back to the mean. But that first year was Minshew mania for a reason, and it was like, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason nobody's given up anything for Gardner Minshew. There's a reason, it ended up not succeeding. I think, again, he's still just a backup quarterback who would come in for 3 or 4 games, give you some numbers.
Well, there you go. 3-3. You keep swapping them. They stay fresh. They stay hot.
Exactly. We'll go 10-7 like that for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to Burger King 31 with the $2 super chat. 2 goats. Love you guys' content. It's not RB. It's DJ Eastwood. Get at me. Go Birds.
It's all good, Bird Gang. I got you.
Yeah. And shout out to the last one, Duncan Wright with the $5 super chat. It isn't another purpose of rushing to weaken and pound the defense. Facts. It brings a physical. That's the physical part of football, right? The physicality part. And each year it got lessened because of the pass being so heavy, but it's still a foundation of football. It's still a foundation of football that we don't do. And it's just, I can't even talk about it. That's why the name is that, because it's like, I just, once I see, like, I talked about it each week up into the 6 weeks because I thought maybe it would change. Now it's like I hate pounding something that's pounding a broken drum. That's not going to change. I'm just going to say, let's see how the team is without it. But if he doesn't run all season, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Duncan. And a 3 and out is a defense's best friend, and a really good defense, like, one of your only advantages is to try to make them tired, try to wear them out a little bit. And even though the Bucs were number 1 in the NFL, I'm pretty sure in rush defense, that doesn't mean you shouldn't have ran the ball 20 times. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have ran the ball 20 times for 20 yards. You know what I mean? Make them work and make them keep bringing guys up to the box and say, because they stop your run 6 or 7 times in a row, they're still preparing for that 8th time. It's still on their mind. That's the whole point of the game. That's like, again, shooting a basketball to make the defense come out to you. You know, it's not about making it or missing it. It's about if they defended you 6 times, they're going to defend you a 7th time. Like, I just can't fathom this anti-run game. It doesn't make any sense for just the basics of the game.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so, and the part of me, like, knowing that this coaching staff is so young, I was kind of nervous because, like I said, the Eagles always get the new coach, right? Andy Reid, before we put him as the head coach, right? Andy Reid was the quarterback coach for the Green Bay Packers. So he wasn't even an offensive coordinator. He went from quarterback coach to quarterback coach to head coach. And I went back and read the little news clippings and stuff. Everybody was like, Andy Reid, who? What a ugly signing, blah, 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 blah. So we signed a no-name in Andy Reid, who became something. Chip Kelly was a new college guy who play calling was good. He just can't be the GM. Don't let him run your team fully. I mean, he'll just start selling all the important people. And then Doug Peterson, for his goofiness, pretty much won us a Super Bowl. I know Frank Wright wasn't part of that, but I can say that, Doug Peterson, they were going to get rid of Frank Wright the second year. Doug was like, nah, he's on my staff. So, shout out to Doug for at least knowing that. What I'm saying is everybody had some type of veteran. Reed had Jim Johnson, who was in the league for a while. Doug Peterson had Jim Schwartz. And although we hate him, he was a former head coach. And if he has the right personnel, his defense works, but it has to be perfect. We've seen us be a top defense under him. We just got so bad doing what he done and not adjusting was just even making it worse. Although the linebackers looked a little bit better underneath him.
Yeah.
With that being said,
and he complained a lot about not having the personnel. You're not giving me the guys to get the job done. That's why he didn't get fired either, right? It was a mutual partnership or mutual. They agreed that he's not coming back. He retired or whatever. Yeah, he was like, I'm out, bro. You got me out here with Nate Gary on Chase Claypool, and like, what am I supposed to do with this? Yeah, that shouldn't be the matchup, but at the same time, sometimes it ends up being the matchup based on what happens. And that weak of a linebacker shouldn't be on the field in the NFL.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And like, be honest, like, Alex Singleton is a third. He will be on a roster, but he'd be that third. He'd be that guy who comes in once in a while, or if there's an injury. He's not supposed to be the leader of your defense captain. He's not. He's supposed to be like that.
I can't figure out how he's an NFL linebacker just based on his size alone.
He's small, yeah, he is.
It's crazy to me.
But
it's TJ McConnellism. That's exactly what it is. TJ McConnellism, man. We love him because he has heart and he puts it all out there, and that's great. You're not good enough.
Yeah.
And
then on side of Eric Wilson is even making him worse because what Eric Wilson can do, I thought he could do. I mean, in coverage, he's the worst against the run. This dude goes to the opposite hole every time.
That was part of his. I read, when we traded for him and all kinds of stuff. That was one of the things a lot of people said, that he reads runs just not good.
I know, but I thought our D line would be able to hide the deficiencies, and then we would use them in the pass. And no, we just suck against the run.
Well, that's basically what Howie Roseman has banked on since he won the Super Bowl. I'm just going to have an overpowered defensive line, get in the quarterback's face, and everything else doesn't matter. And that's true, but you have to have that overpowered defensive line. When you don't have that, now what do you do?
You get gashed in a run. It's been 5 years since we saw a run defense like that. Like I said, I didn't look at the stats now, but before this Buccaneers game, we were the 4th fewest passed on team. Like, only 3 other teams got passed on less than us because we had the most runs attempted against us. Because teams are like, yo, if you have Andy Reid and if you have Mahomes and Reid come in, and they decide to run the ball 30 times for 200 yards, you have a problem because that team wants to pass. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's in their DNA. But shout out to Wildebeest Davenport with the $10 super chat. Jalen Hurts deserves the season with better coach and play calling. Never should have got rid of Doug, or they should have hired Kellen Moore. Stop looking for a puppet and hire a real coach. Man, I was laughing at when we did kind of try to interview Kellen Moore, and I think he's doing a good job. That's what I want to try to say. I think Kellen Moore got that Cowboys offense looking good. What do you think?
Yeah, he does. He does. I just they've always I always called them the on paper boys. You know what I mean? They're like on paper they were
Yeah,
supposed to be good for like 3 or 4 years now, and finally they're healthy. And
yeah,
I don't think Jason Garrett was doing them any favors. And last year Dak was tearing up the league before he broke his ankle. It seems like they're finally healthy and they finally put it all together. I'm still expecting them to fall flat on their face, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
yes.
jumping on the Cowboys bandwagon. I'm just saying they're finally living up to the on paper name so far that I've been giving them for a couple years now. Um, so yeah, he has them looking right, but it might be more personnel than anything, or just personnel mixed with him just using a basic common sense kind of philosophy, like run the ball, play action, run the ball, play action. It's
Yeah,
real simple when you have a strong run game. It's not hard, man. I say this a lot. These people get in these high positions based on what they've done, where they've coached at, who they know, and they want to be a genius. And it's really not that complicated of a game. Basketball, football, it's not that complicated. I'm serious. I think you could give a lot of high school coaches an NFL roster, and they could figure out how to get Dak Prescott to throw the football down the field. I just don't think it's that complicated. So maybe he's taking a more basic approach than Nick Sirianni's trying to be a genius. Chip Kelly tried to be a genius. Brett Brown tried to be a genius in the NBA. Doug Peterson last year, I don't know what he was doing, but it didn't surprise me that Jalen Hurts came in and he didn't change his philosophy at all. So what my man just said about shouldn't have got rid of Doug Peterson, I don't think he was helping Jalen Hurts either. So I think Nick Sirianni's worse. Don't get me wrong.
that's just how bad it comes.
But,
Like, there's people who I know you don't know where you're fully on with Doc Rivers, but there's people who after that series they were like, bring Brett Brown back. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, just because one looks bad now, let's just stop
yeah.
with the all bad, bad, bad. Let's just go to something different.
Let's go to something different. Yeah, for sure.
For real. And like you said, listen, I collab with a couple Cowboys content creators, and it sucks. I let them, let them do what they want, but I'm expecting to fall in their face, and I'm gonna love it just as good as I always did. But I gotta admit, right now they look good, and that's one thing. I do not need to hear Cowboys make a legit run because they're just the most annoyingest fan base ever.
They are because they're everywhere. They're not,
Yeah.
I think Eagles fans, there's Eagles fans everywhere, but I think for the most part, Eagles fans are either in Philly, from Philly, have ties to Philly, near Philly, in the state of Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? It's the Cowboys, Lakers, and Yankees. There's people in like Montana that are Cowboys fans for some reason. And that's why it's annoying because they don't even know why they're a Cowboys fan. There's so many Cowboys fans here where I live.
Yeah, that's me too. Me too.
I'm friends with them. But, sometimes like across the line a little bit, and I get a little bit offensive because I'm like, why are you a Cowboys fan? Oh, because they were good in the 90s, right around when you were a kid, and you said, I want to be a fan of that team because they had Troy Aikman, and that's why. That's not the right reason.
They thought
in
they
my
were
opinion.
buying themselves into some good stock. They lived a horrible life. Yeah, I say the same thing. Like, look, real talk. If you're like 45 and you're a Cowboy fan, I'll be quiet. But if you are 5 years less than me, or even like 4 or 5 years older, I'm like, bro, real talk.
You jumped on the
It,
bandwagon.
it, it
Listen,
was it was horrible.
my cousins growing up, and they're not sports fanatics at all. But when the Cowboys were great, they were Cowboys fans. When the Bulls were great, they were Bulls fans, Michael Jordan fans. Like, that's just jumping on a wave. That's all that is. And now they haven't watched that. They haven't been into sports for years because they were just jumping on a wave when they were a kid. So the Cowboys, most of their fans are bandwagoners. It's just the way it is.
Yep, and they gonna come back out with the 5-1, but they'll soon go away. Shout out to Robert Drennan with the $10 super chat. What up, fellas? Is Nick Sirianni an undercover KGB Soviet cowboy that is trying to ruin my beloved Eagles? Oh, tell Dallas don't pull their zipper down just yet. They will choke. They just need time. Listen, whenever you need a nice little cowboy joke, Robert Drennan, come in and let him know. I agree. I agree. But like I said, look, everybody wants to have a definitive answer on things. It's hard for anybody. I don't know how you can really stand by and kind of give Nick Sirianni anything at this point. just because it baffles me there. And I'm definitely seeing, again, we're coming off the worst game of Jalen Hurts. Whether you're a Hurts fan or not, you can't deny that it was the worst game. And that's why I'm going to get that study out that's going to show the one or two throws he did good and just some of the stuff that is just, you can't do. But it's a one game, and I'm putting everything in perspective because you got to have context. I think that anybody asked to do as much as Jalen Hurts does because he has the ball in his hand more than anybody. Brady, Murray, Rodgers, Mahomes.
That's
That just
ridiculous.
sounds silly. That just sounds silly.
Uh-huh. When you have running backs, it's not like we have none.
Exactly.
It's not like we have no running backs. We have running backs. We have an offensive line. I would get experimental. I don't know if you're the one that said this, but somebody said this. Give Jordan Mailata the ball. I'll put him at fullback. I might hand it off to him.
Yeah.
Like, get creative. You're about to be 2-10 in the snap of a finger.
Yeah. But so going back, right, at how we started this out, and shout out to the 290 some people we have in here. Again, we are live on 2 channels. So if you don't see 290, I'm not capping. We are live on 2 channels. It's almost 300 total.
Let's
so
go.
Do me a favor. Go ahead and check out Running Back Philly. Check out the Philly Talk podcast. If you like what you see, hit the red button. If not, there's always that X button or the dislike button. Do whatever you please. You know what I mean?
Get plenty of those. I get plenty of those all the time, man. Dislikes, unsubs. Cool. I'm unsubscribing from the chat. That's cool, bro. I got 25 today. You can go unsubscribe.
Yeah, I know. It's funny when they tell you though. It's rough. It's like no. But yeah. So again, I think we all, whether we thought Jalen was going to be good and you don't think he is, whether you thought he was going to be bad and you think he's been decent, we all kind of said, we both said 2-4 is where we thought we could be. We're there now. And the schedule does easing up. Raiders next. They just came off of a win. They're dealing with the John Gruden thing. Like, do you go into this game against the Raiders, going to Las Vegas? Do you think the Eagles have a shot against the Raiders team, which I think they're like 3-3 or I think they're 3-3.
I was trying to see what their defense is ranking at right now. But Derek Carr's having probably one of his best seasons of his career so far. And he just came off another ridiculous performance, right? He had like a 135 rating. He is
playing pretty good.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm pretty much going to have the same prediction that I have with this defense this whole season. The quarterback's going to stand in the pocket and throw over the middle the whole game. That's what seems to happen. That's what happened in the first half against the Bucs, and that's Tom Brady. That's over the middle Tom Brady. You can't stop that. We stopped it a little bit in the second half, which surprised me. I thought he was going to put up 45 points on us, just targeting our linebackers. We hit him a couple times. That always helps. But I think, I don't think we're gonna put up a good fight against Derek Carr unless we pressure him with the defensive line. Just like it's just what our defense banks on. I'm not seeing anything from the linebackers. I'm not seeing Anthony Harris. Has been a major disappointment. Is he hurt or not? I don't even know.
No, he's in there.
Who's the Clemson safety that got hurt in the beginning? Had that personal foul in the first game.
Wallace, yeah.
Kevon Wallace. Did he come back yet?
Nah, he hasn't.
Because I like that. At least that dude's willing to hit somebody out there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he did.
Coverage skills are one thing, but at least he's willing to hit somebody, man. I love Steve Nelson. I think he's the best tackler on the team. He gets low, he grabs the legs, he goes in for it. I love Steve Nelson. I wish,
Slay be making some business decisions. I've been seeing Slay. He's been making some. Look, I like Slay, but he does make some. He makes them right. Like, he doesn't just blatantly give up. Like, but he does be making some business decisions where Nelson is just going to go up in there and get it done.
Yeah, I think Slay. I mean, he's about to be 31, maybe, right? He's
just had a baby too. He's like, yo, I gotta run around with the baby.
Yeah, he may be pulling like a Floyd Mayweather kind of. Let me extend my career as long as I can here. I don't know if I want to take this hit.
Yeah, but they're 4-2. That even makes it more yowzer. I thought they were 3-3 to be honest.
Yeah, they lost a tough one in overtime. I think week 2 to the Ravens. Was that right? I was watching it. It was a Monday night game. I'm pretty sure Sunday night game. I don't remember. They lost a tough one. The Raiders, Derek Carr, again, he was really good, 2 years ago before he broke his leg in half. So, maybe it took him that long to get that fully rehabbed and get back to being himself. So I don't know what to expect, but I wouldn't consider this Raiders game the other side of the schedule yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now too. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go back and do more research before I claim anything else. But yeah, I do believe, and that was part of the reason why we came into the season with the third easiest schedule. Right, the Panthers were supposed to be a walk in the park. Not supposed to, but the Panthers were really bad last year. The Broncos were really bad last year. The Raiders were really bad last year. So a lot of these teams that were really bad are now either 4-2 and 3-3, and they're better than people think. And it's like, dang, our schedule, if you in the offseason, going off the record last year, it was the third easiest schedule in the NFL, the easiest in the NFC East. Now, if you just go off everybody's win-loss record, I guarantee you it's in the upper echelon, probably like at least 15th. You know what I mean? When you look at what the record is now based off what you came into the season thinking they might be. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it just is. I like to go back to, like, when we compare Jalen Hurts to Dak Prescott, and it reminds me, I've been wanting to bring this up this whole show. It reminds me, or it gets me thinking about how bad the coaching staff is not helping Jalen Hurts, because Dak Prescott's success his rookie year, and he was great his rookie year, but we always, we try to find ways to slander the Cowboys. It's what we do. So that whole year we were like, yeah, but he doesn't throw the ball down the field. His yards per average, he's averaging like 5.9 yards per attempt and all that stuff. The whole thing was set up to not have pressure on him throwing the ball down the field. It was quick drops, dump offs to running backs, quick drops, quick slants, run the ball, pitch right, pitch left, quick drops. Like, the whole thing was set up for him to not have that pressure so he could take the time and take a whole season to learn.
Yeah.
This is the opposite of what a coaching staff should be doing for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. And see, listen, and that Cowboys team was really good when they went 13-3. Listen, you don't draft a running back third overall or second. I think Elliott went third or second overall. You don't do that unless you think your team is complete and all you need is the running back. That's what they did. That year in 2016-17 draft, when Wentz got drafted, the Cowboys took Ezekiel Elliott with the third or top. It was top 5. Maybe it was 5.
It was 4. I don't know why I remembered it was 4. Yeah.
All right, that's good. 4th overall pick, they take Ezekiel Elliott because they said Des Bryant was still good that year, right? They had the Great Wall of China when it comes to the O-line. Tony Romo was coming off a good. Tony Romo was good, right? And so when Tony Romo got hurt, they were like, oh no. But Dak came in, he had the poise, they made it easier. Now Dak had a good year too. I think he had like 20-something touchdowns. He had like 3,000-something yards or whatever. But guess who was not just a good rusher? Guess who led the league in rushing?
Zeke, yeah.
Zeke.
I won a fantasy championship with him at on my team. Yeah, he was dominant. And it was a half point per carry league too, which they did away with that after that season because he had like 30 carries a game, bro.
Yeah,
I was getting like 15 points.
He had like over 300 plus carries the whole season. You were crushing them. And so 1,600 yards on top of having a guy like Des Bryant. And again, I'm not saying Devontae Smith ain't the guy, but Des was, again, one of them go up and get it guys too. So, where you're going to have to hit Devontae Smith and strive and in certain areas, guys like Des Bryant, when he was in his, when he was that guy still, he was one of them guys who just can do it all. He's like the dominant X receiver, and no pun intended because he did the X thing. They had a lot of Jason Witten was still there. He was still decent. So you had just so much in his favor. And when you look at Hurts, it's like the offensive line, the running backs, because of the coach. And even though we like our wide receivers, they're inexperienced still. And I'm not saying they can't be good. They just weren't, Miles Austin before, because Miles Austin was good with them. Unfortunately, he comes to us and he sucks, right? Right. So like, I maybe even Miles Austin wasn't there. I don't even remember their exact guy. Maybe it was that Terrence Williams dude. I think I don't even know. But here's the thing, I got to watch Red Zone this week, and I seen Herb again. The Ravens defense is good, but I seen other quarterbacks miss. They don't get the slack that Jalen does, but Jalen does miss more. But again, Herbert was a top guy for a reason. I just think that Hurts got to be on a slower trajectory if he has a chance to survive. Because I've never came on here and said, you know what? I think Jalen Hurts will be a top 10 guy. I think that I want him to be good. And I think that there's no reason that tells me he can't in the right scenarios, because I've seen the Dak Prescotts come out of nowhere. He was a 4th-round pick for a reason. You know what I mean? His draft profile was a little bit better, as we see the maybe Ken and all that. But, there have been guys who got drafted late, but they had the right mindset and do it. But normally them players come into good situations. Hurts is just, he got the ball in his hand every time. It's Hurts or bust.
Yeah. I just think there's most quarterbacks that like are not that great their rookie year and progress, have something that people can say, okay, he's really good at this. He just needs to work on this. I'm going to ask you right now, what is Jalen Hurts really good at? Like, what one thing?
He's really good at talking at the press conferences. Let me stop. I'll give you that. And that's the thing, though. I believe he's good at certain throws, but they just don't. I don't think they give him the consistent. I'm not saying only draw up plays that he can do. I think you got to open the playbook for him, whether sink or swim. But I think he'd be really good off play action, for the simple fact that most of his throws that are like, wow, how'd you do it, is rolling to his right. Now, I'm not saying that you have to make him roll to his right every time, and play action doesn't work when you're the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think he can be a big-time play action guy, especially his first year, and I think that could translate if we give him that. And I will say this, though, and you said it a couple times before you were on the flip, get out of here, out of here. He's staying in the pocket a little bit more and delivering in the middle than we saw last year. But again, so here's my thing. It's like, okay, he hit Devontae in the middle against the Bucks on a nice one, right? Between two guys.
Yeah.
Is it Nick Sirianni saying he can't do it, so I'm not calling it? Or Nick Sirianni's, there's a reason they're not calling that many plays to the middle of the field. And if they are, they're longer routes, and Jalen's already in panic mode by that time. So
I just think in the pocket he's in panic mode the whole time. Like when I really think about him back there and going through his reads, I think he sees the guy on the sideline doing the go route and he questions it and he says, "Nah, it's not open." And then he goes, "Oh shit," and he just runs. Like that's like he's just not calm reading the field, and he's also trying too hard to be perfect, because you can tell the way he talks and how confident he is. He's a perfectionist. He doesn't want to throw a bad ball, and that's hurting him more. I wish he had more of a Jameis Winston mentality. Go throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. You're a young quarterback. Nobody cares. The team's not even good, bro. Like, throw 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have you back there taking chances than hesitating every single time and throwing the ball late or whatever else. I just think he's overthinking everything because he wants to be perfect. And, it's tough.
And that's definitely, but again, who is that older coach that's been around, that's seen quarterbacks go through this stuff, that's seen guys who weren't good at this got better? Who's that guy to tell Hurts, listen, you got to do this, you got to do that? And at the end of the day, Hurts is going to realize soon this is the NFL and he doesn't have forever. So I want to know when that starts to play in his head. Does that let him say, you know what? Might be my last time being a starting quarterback if I don't show something. So when does it click to him to say, this ain't college no more? I'm done using my feet. I have to stay in the pocket, whether that's going to be my downfall or build me back up. There got to be a time where that clicks for someone like him. And as we could say the same thing with Ben Simmons, he's just, that's just a different mindset. Like you can see off the grip. So I think what keeps me engaged with Hurts is that he does make plays at times. I see something, I just need him to get it out. And that is where I don't know if this coaching staff will get it out of him. And I don't know if he will get it out this early that we don't make a decision to go a different way next year. And if we do, I support the Shield. It's always going to be that. I've seen people that I love. Like, I'm the hugest Mcnabb fan. I was a big Brian Dawkins fan. If they could leave, anybody could leave at this point. There's nobody bigger than the Shield. I mean, it is what it is. If Laurie sells it, I'm still an Eagle fan. It is what it is.
Well, McNabb's rookie year, I'm pretty sure he had a 74 .9 passer rating. And I only remember that number exactly because my uncles are some of the biggest Negadelphians you'll ever meet. Is where I get it from.
It's in the
And
blood.
it really is. And I remember I had a coffee mug. I had a Donovan McNabb coffee mug, and it had his rookie stats on the back. And my uncle pointed to it and he said, "See, that's the problem right there." It said passer rating 74.9 or 79.6, maybe, whatever. It was in the 70s. And they printed that on the coffee mug. But, Donovan McNabb was erratic too. It's just, and wasn't always accurate. Had a lot of times where he would throw the ball straight into the ground. There was a lot of things Donovan McNabb could have done better. But he had that one strength. That one strength Donovan McNabb had was he could put the ball 70 yards down the field into a player's hands. And, I'm not seeing that one strength from Jalen Hurts. And the thing that's really discouraging to me is when you talk about him being in the pocket, when he is in a clean pocket and he is just trying to make that quick throw over the middle slant, it's not accurate. So it's like, I'm not even seeing him be able to stand in the pocket and like the Justin Herbert, when you say he missed a couple and everybody misses a couple, that's true. They make the rest of them. Jalen Hurts is missing or almost missing all of them and then making like 2 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I know I'm nitpicking when I say it, but a lot of them, guys are reaching back, reaching up, reaching over here. The Quez Watkins catch off, that was a tip ball. That was ridiculous. And shout out to Quez Watkins. I wanted to talk about him a little bit because he's looking just way better than I expected him to look this season.
But too, better than our first round pick.
Yeah. I would say Watkins is a pretty clear number 2 right now. But he's making receivers work on really basic, simple patterns with time to throw. And that's discouraging to me because it's like if he's not even accurate doing that, I don't know where we go from here. But I also agree with everybody that says it's the coaching staff too. I don't know the answer. The coach isn't helping him, but he's not showing me anything. When he finally has a clean, people that are like, it's all the coach. It's all this. And I'm like, here's a play. Let me show you right here. Clean pocket, wide open slant, threw it behind him. Yeah. I don't know.
And that's what I was saying in this one, because this was the biggest eye opener in a sense of, come on, Hurts, you got to be better. And this is a really bad secondary. Now, their defensive line and front seven are good, and they did give us fits up front. But I mean, 4 targets for Devontae Smith. I think that has to be better just from Jalen and the coaching standpoint. So to your point, this game was the biggest just misfest. It was a misfest in this game. It's tough, but as we just talked about Quez Watkins real quick, right? This guy was a 6th-round pick, and if you looked at his draft profile, it was just like his route tree is so simple because all he really is a speed threat, not big. There's so many things that he wasn't, and he's already proven them wrong. You know what I mean? That's that dog mentality from Nick. I can't take the dog mentality anymore because of how bad.
The Carolina game, an experienced head coach would not have been giving a speech to the team after that game like they just won a Super Bowl. That was pathetic to me. That was a rookie coach acting like he just accomplished something major by pulling out a win at the end of the game because Sam Darnold threw 2 ridiculous interceptions and put you in field. It literally put you in. All you had to do was, what were they on the 20-yard line? Like, yeah, they got it in the end zone, but he handed you the game. Nick Sirianni got up there and gave this spit. That's what we do. That's how you pull it up. That's how you work. An experienced coach would have been angry about that win. Would have been like, this is, I don't care that we won. This is what we did wrong. We're not going to go anywhere playing like this. We're not going to, he just comes off as such a, middle school coach to me, man. I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah, the dog mentality, I liked it in the off season. I liked a lot he said in the off season, to be honest. Shout out to Philly 500 because I talked to him a little bit on and off the screen too, and it's like, we were wrong. We were wrong. Like I thought that Nick Sirianni had all this stuff. He was showing us the 2-back sets, this, that, and the third. Player to player strengths, which he's still saying. Well, guess what? Miles Sanders is like, you're a damn liar. My strength is me having the ball in my hand, and I've had it less this year than I've had it ever. So you're not playing to my strength at all. At all.
Yeah, it's just not. And I don't understand how out of touch this coach is, even with the city, you know. And then he gets made fun of in on every radio show and all over Twitter and all over everywhere for pandering to the fans, and he comes out with a Julius Erving jersey. Like, what is this guy doing? Stop it!
Yeah.
Stop it!
The pandering only
Stop.
works when you're winning, when you're good. Like nobody cares about and that's the thing. Like, yeah, I'm off of it. I'm off of it. Like
It's
it
almost
is
like disrespectful. Like you're not allowed to wear that.
not
You
yet.
know,
Yeah,
you're not one of us.
not yeah. Oh man, it's tough. Like I said, the very first time, like, okay, you got a Phillies hat on. You know what I mean? I think I wasn't that mad at the beat Dallas, but then when they beat us down that bad, you're like, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Like I said, I'm all about the flashy stuff if I'm gonna go out and then execute, right? Like
I was
I'm not
mad
the
at beat Dallas. That's not even. That's like unprofessional. That's like so.
it is
That's
it's a
so
little nerdy,
weird
a
to
little
me.
weird, yeah.
That's weird. You're a professional NFL head coach. You got a beat Dallas shirt on like a 16-year-old girl at the tailgate.
But what if we beat Dallas bad?
It's still lame. Like, what are you like? He looked like he's about to go play beer pong. You know,
Yeah.
you're an NFL head coach.
He probably did. Right before the game, he was
Maybe
out
that's
partying.
what. Maybe that's
like,
what's going on. He's drunk the whole
tailgating.
time.
He's tailgating with the fans and stuff. He definitely got burner counts. I think he's all on Twitter looking. Look, you're right though. And at the end of the day, like I said, the dude who's talking all this trash and then he gets beat up. It's like, bro, you know, like I'm saying, if you
right,
just handle your business, and he continues to do it, and so you know.
It's a good example. It's a good example. Two guys fighting outside of a bar, right? One of them has training in fighting and isn't saying a word. You know, the other guy's out here beat Dallas, beat Dallas, beat Dallas. The guy with the training just knocks him clean out on the sidewalk. I told you not to fuck with me, dude. Like, I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, it was bad because we didn't lose. That was the worst beat down, even over the KC one, because KC we were at least in the game for 3.5 quarters, and then they pulled away with 12 points. Like Dallas just did whatever they want with us. They made us look like not a football team. They really did,
Yeah.
and that's the worst.
I do think Jalen Hurts is he's fighting against bad coaching and bad game planning and all this stuff, and we haven't like gotten. It's not like we're losing 45-0 every week. He's making a lot of plays with his legs. He's pulling a lot of things out at the end of the game. He's doing a lot of things, and I think he's a guy that can contribute. You know, so he's
like that.
You know what I mean? Like he's not terrible. I'm not sitting up here saying Jalen Hurts is terrible, but your goal right now is to find a Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, like right now, like look, if I had to look right now, right, out of 32 starting quarterbacks, there are some guys I'm putting Jalen Hurts in front of.
Yeah.
But
I just read a list. I just read a list that had him at 20, which is funny. He was right behind number 19, Carson Wentz. But
I can see around 22 because, like I said, you can't just always look at the stats because that is a little bit. You know, you got to bring in all the context. He is getting more stats because of the way this offense is, but it's also hurting his, I think, at times efficiency and more explosive plays because everything, whether it's our run game is just a screen game, right? It's just what it is. So, you know, that also hurts him. Like I saw 3 completed screens the other day that went -1 yards. That's making his yard per attempt just straight garbage because they're throwing screens to guys who are getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. It's just ridiculous. So he is balanced. And that's my biggest thing. It's hard to really judge because of the coaching, but when you watch a clean play develop where like, wow, the coaching was good at this instant and Jalen misses it, it's more demoralizing. But the thing is, I think, you know, he'll miss less if he throws less. And if the defense has to worry about the runs, that's when the wide receivers do get a little bit more open. And he doesn't have to fully throw them open because they're dropping back in coverage and they're playing dime packages. Other defensive coordinators got dime packages.
Yeah,
and so they're dropping back in dime because we're not running the ball. And so I think that all can play. And as we said, and I've never said he compared him to Dak Prescott, because Dak, to me now, Dak's top 5. I hate to say it, but I gotta agree he's top 5. But Dak was given everything the right way to start.
Yeah, I agree.
If Dak wasn't in that position, maybe he doesn't get this confidence. He went through adversity on and off the field too, and like I said, he's a baller. But all the other guys were first round picks: the Deshaun Watsons, the Pat Mahomes, the Justin Herberts. Dak was a 4th round pick who balled out, and so you got to respect that as well.
The crazy part about that Cowboys team is they didn't have to draft Zeke that high. They had such a good offensive line. They could have got not the same production, but they could have got pretty close production to any college running back in the 2nd or 3rd round. You know what I mean? Like, look at Pollard right now. I don't know where Pollard was drafted, but sometimes he looks better than Zeke. You know what I mean? Like, running backs, it just is what it is. They're a dime a dozen. You can get them in the 2nd, 3rd round. Big, strong guy that can read the hole and hit it hard. And when you got an offensive line like that, so when I look back at it, I'm like, it was kind of, I don't know if I would have even drafted Zeke if you can go back, because that offensive line was so good they could have done something else. But just putting one of the best college running backs of all time behind that line was a recipe for success, and they knew that, and that definitely helped out Dak a lot for sure.
Yeah, like look at DeMarco Murray. The dude was the leading rusher. Come to Philly.
Yeah. Well, you said something earlier that Chip Kelly's play calling was good. I think he was calling plays, but it didn't make sense for the players that he had.
Yeah. No, that last year was bad. He wanted to run east and west, but traded McCoy for Murray. When Murray wants to go north and south, you got rid of one of the best east to west guys. His Twitter handle is cut on a dime. Like, what are you doing?
And he traded Nick Foles for Sam Bradford. Literally just because Sam Bradford was a former number 1 overall pick. That's the only reason. And he said that. That makes no sense at all.
His GM was horrible.
So he tried to run like a motion-style college offense with Sam Bradford, and the funniest thing ever was, and I'll never forget it, the game after he got fired, first time DeMarco Murray touched the ball up the middle, 54-yard touchdown.
Yeah. Exactly what he wouldn't do. Yeah. I mean, Murray came from an I formation set with Dallas Cowboys, and now he's in the shotgun running all this stuff. Like I said, sometimes, like you said it earlier, like they get this job and they feel like if they don't do something special, if they're not the next Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, they're going to get thrown away. Bro, the old school coaches are still doing old school things. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, ground and pound. Bill Belichick, great coach, ground and pound. Listen, Mac Jones, I think in the first half, he only threw the ball, like 6 or under 10 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't got no name brand running backs in there. They got a couple guys they rotate in, right? Their offensive line ain't that great.
Yep.
Mac Jones, who probably was the most pinpoint passer, not lie, because they had Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence were supposed to be, but this guy was a very accurate guy in Alabama, quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's being protected by a coach that says, I'm going to protect him. And that game plan fit well. Look what they did. They went tooth and nail with Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mac Jones you got to do what you got to do. And like I said, and this is one of the things you said on one of your post games, and I agree to an extent, right? When we talk about hiding Jalen Hurts deficiencies, right? If we have to hide them for 10 years, it's not worth it. It's hiding them. It's hiding them in year 1 because you expect them to get better. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yep.
So, and that's where I never said you got to hide, but hiding the deficiencies will get them better with confidence, connections, and just all that other stuff that comes in. Because again, it's complex to Jalen Hurts when you look at what he had to do in Oklahoma compared to what he has to do in the NFL. And then he has to also beat the play calling at times. So it's like, bro, good luck.
Yeah. But again, somebody like Mac Jones, his one strength that you would say is accuracy, that he's insanely accurate. When he has time to throw it and the receiver's open, it's on the money every single time. And so you can take him and say, we don't want to put him in a situation where he's throwing the ball a lot because he's not caught up to the NFL speed yet. His reads aren't there yet. His read in the field's not there yet. But when he does have time, it's on the money. Jalen Hurts has a clean pocket, has time. I don't know where the ball's going.
Last Thursday, I gotta agree. Like I said, I think he was really accurate in the Chiefs game. I think he was, accurate. I think he was accurate in the Falcons game, the Chiefs game, and The Foul game, the Chiefs game, thought he played really good in the first half of the Niners game. The second half of the Niners game, not that well. 3/4 of Carolina, although I do believe that Carolina game was the biggest screen disaster out of them all. Like, that was the real screen. Listen, you hear the Bucks and the Panthers both said that, they both said, whether it was players or coaches, like, predictable. It's too predictable. And it is what it is. But to your point, Jalen Hurts was really bad in that Bucks game. And I will say this: if I'm going to help Jalen Hurts succeed, right, I'm being like a Greg Roman. I'm not saying he's not Lamar Jackson, but there is things that he can shake a defender. There's linebackers and cornerbacks that he can shake in the open field. And just the fact that when you are running the ball, like, how many times do we see it? You just see they don't do it more for Lamar Jackson because that's Lamar Jackson. But if you fake to Miles Sanders, the whole defense goes that way. And that's a quick 7 yards for you. 7 yards on first down sets up a 2nd and 3. Now the whole playbook's open to you, whether it's another bootleg, this, that, and a third, whatever you want to call, right? Anything, even though he's not going to run the ball on that. The main thing is I would treat it like Lamar Jackson. And if that happens, right, you're like, now Jalen Hurts is becoming more of a runner. The running backs are being used more. But the limited throws he has are going to be like, you see tight ends and some guys running wide open for Lamar Jackson because of that. And so that still translated. I like I said, I just watching Lamar Jackson against the Chargers and stuff. I just think this year teams are trying to take the run away. And he's like, you know what? I'm a little bit better of a passer. You're going to open your eyes and see. And like you said, Lamar still was more. Jalen Hurts is not a guy who gets zip on the ball, as they say. You know what I mean? But I just think if you approach it that way, you're going to get the best out of him and then see if it goes. If you get the best and you see it don't go, then you still got to say, you know what I mean? Thanks for filling in.
You'll get the best out of him. Guys like Lamar Jackson, though, are like, if we don't spy, he can take it to the house, Yeah. Jalen Hurts, that's the thing. I'm not even seeing – he's not even that big of a threat as a runner. He's just not. He's not even that. He's not.
But they're not designed runs, though. It's just it's panic runs,
right? But he's not shaking people out of their shoes or doing a juke move and breaking 25 yards down the middle of the field. He's not even an elite running quarterback for being a running quarterback.
Yeah, I mean he's not. I mean, how many rushing yards does he have? I didn't look that up, to be honest.
He has a lot. He has like I want to say 400 in 5 games. He has a lot. 300 something. Maybe 240 something.
He has what?
He has 240 something.
Someone said it, or you saw it?
I just remembered it off the top of my head. It's in the 200s. He's just a big, strong guy. I don't know if that translates that well into a position in the NFL, unless he's a fullback.
And there you're going to go back to he's Tim deep.
No, that was my other comparison.
What?
Michael Robinson.
The
Penn State quarterback that got drafted as a running back to the San Francisco 49ers. He was a fullback for the Seahawks the year before he retired.
Yeah. And wasn't he really? I think he was critical of Jalen Hurts this offseason or something to it. No.
Yeah, he's on NFL Network now, so he has an opinion on things. But yeah, it's almost like Dan Orlovsky. Like, bro, are you really allowed to say that with how bad of a quarterback you were?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna see. This is the easier part of the schedule, even though the Raiders are kind of making me a little nervous now. I gotta see. Hopefully. I wanted to get them fresh. I don't know if I wanted to get them fresh off Gruden because they beat up on the Broncos, but that whole thing is what it is. We're not gonna talk about that. Politics is wild. Yeah, man. So like I said, it was good because we all know that, I'm not the Jalen Hurts. There's nothing wrong, but I'm definitely a pro Jalen Hurts because, like I said, there's gonna be a day where I'm just looking at DJ like we're not arguing no more. I'm on your side. Hopefully that day don't come for at least a couple weeks because I want to be able to really look at Hurts and say, you know what, still not there, still, but I see something, because there are good throws and we're 2-4 and we played a tough schedule, so we got to see how the defense comes around, see how Nick Sirianni does.
I will say this is This is one of the most polarizing topics in Philly sports right now. Like as far as people on one side, people on the other side. Like I'm watching the chat this whole stream, and it's just, oh yeah, if he's not good at throwing, why are his passing stats this? And then somebody's like, you're an idiot because you said this, and it's just this. People are so separated on this Jalen Hurts thing.
I
It's
know.
like fascinating to read because, I mean, and we're on two different levels with it. I was like 2 weeks ago, I was just like, I'm not seeing
So, all right.
I'm
So,
just
yeah,
not seeing the ability to throw the ball.
what was the exact game that you remember or when was the game where you were like, all right, yeah, I just don't think he is the long term?
The short interception in the beginning of the Cowboys game. Was it
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor down the right side?
Yeah.
15
That was
yards
horrible.
short.
That was horrible.
It was wide open, clean pocket, 15 yards short. I'm like, I can't get down with this. And I don't see it improving.
Yeah. And then you got back on you didn't get back on, but you gave him his credit in the Chiefs game, right? Like,
yeah.
Just the overall. I mean, it was some garbage yard in there, but
But that's what I mean. Mark Sanchez had some good games.
Tim Tebow never did, though.
No, Tim Tebow never did. I'll give you that. Tim Tebow's not even a backup. Tim Tebow never had some good games. He had one throw.
That's why he went to tight end.
And you know what's funny? Like the dude was so religious, and I don't know if I am or not, but if I was going to be religious, like the success that Tim Tebow had when he shouldn't have had it, started making me be like, hold on, there's somebody up there, bro. There's somebody up there. There's no way this just happened.
He went 7-4 too. He went 7-4 in them 11 games. With that stats, the stats I just showed you, he went 7-4, but he also had a really good defense. The Broncos had a legit defense. It wasn't the Eagles' defense.
I had him on a fantasy football team that year when he played for the Broncos, and I would check my phone the whole game. This guy would have 0 points. He would have 0 fantasy points the whole game, or like 2 or like 5. And then I would look at it a minute later in the fourth quarter, and he had 27 points, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
Fourth quarter. But yeah, you're right though. There's two big topics. You got the Ben Simmons saga, and then you got the Jalen Hurts. Is he the guy? And I said, like, I listen to 97.5 The Fanatic once in a while in the morning too, because I gotta get something off my mind in the morning just because I'm at work and whatnot, and then I'll be tired as crap. But they're the same way. Like, nobody looks at Jalen Hurts and doesn't want them to succeed. If they do, then they're an idiot, because how we're set up to get our defense right. If the quickest way for the Eagles to turn around is him being the guy. But there's a time where you just gotta say, if you really don't believe he's the guy, you don't. And I'm on the part of, like, Carson Wentz. There were people who were Carson Wentz was bad last year, right? Really bad. There were people who were giving up on him week 3. I wasn't there yet. I was about 2 or 3 games before the Packers game where I said I'm done, and I'm off. Once I get off the boat, I'm not coming back on ever. It's not. So that's why I have to see multiple games where I'm like, you know what, it was bad. And we are coming off Jalen Hurts' worst game. But because he's young, in the back of my head, I'm just looking at things as deeply as I can to see, is there something in to grab on? But then you got the whole subject of who the hell's going to grab on it with this coaching staff? If there is a little piece to grab on, Nick Sirianni not going to grab on it.
It's true, exactly. And that goes all the way back to Aaron Cabbage, I think, that had one of the super chats in the beginning of the show. It said a rookie quarterback or an inexperienced quarterback should never have an inexperienced head coach. It's just a disaster of a combination. The coach is not experienced enough to be able to help this guy fix what he needs to fix. It doesn't make sense to have this pairing. Yeah. Like, why?
It's like this. I'm working at my job. I'm like, I'm a new one. I report to work, and I'm like, so you're my boss? Yeah. All right, so what do you want me to do? Hold on, I'm new too. I'm about to learn. I got to learn.
Exactly. And you got the boss asking you the system and stuff like that.
Exactly. So it is bad. Like you said, what would some of the upper echelon coaches in the league do for a team that is super brand new as the Eagles? When it comes to Sanders, Gainwell, some of the young offensive line, it's just a lot of youngness on this offense. And it's just like, well, Nick Sirianni's like, but I got a cool t-shirt though. What's up though? You know what I mean? It's not a winning recipe. And so I feel like Jalen Hurts does have a hand tied behind his back, and he's already physically got things that he has to work on. But working on it, I mean, if he goes out and practices himself is one thing, but it's hard. It's hard to teach yourself. It's hard to do a lot of things. And here's my one thing I wanted to say before we get up off here. His quarterback coach, right? I mean, I like that he was on the cover of NCAA 2004, right? I like that. But he's known Jalen since he was 4. So I'm not saying he can't, but maybe there's a level of, you know, when your coaches tell you what to do, right? But you get to be in the room by yourself longer hours with that quarterback coach, right? He's really drilling the stuff into you. And if it's like, bro, you coming over for dinner later, are you really giving him the right coaching? Like sometimes you got to say, Jalen, you just can't do this. But knowing somebody for that long, maybe it's just a little bit of a, all right, Jalen, we'll get it next time. You know what I'm saying? But Jalen don't got many next times. He is going up against a clock, whether we like it or not, because Howie Roseman's still in charge and he loves quarterbacks. Good, bad, ugly, sad. So that's the sad truth. It's a sad truth.
Look what came out of the quarterback factory, man. A traded max contract quarterback, and one that we're not sure of right now. That's the quarterback factory.
Well, actually, if you go even deeper, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, max quarterback, second round pick quarterback. Why you had the max quarterback right before you got rid of the Super Bowl headed quarterback, right?
I forgot about the quarterback factory, man. Why wasn't that guy fired right when he said that? Well, it's Jeffrey Lurie, doesn't know any better either. But like quarterback factory, that's not the goal here. That's not the goal. Yeah. You just need one quarterback. You need other things to help the quarterback factory for what? Oh, we won the Super Bowl because we had 3 great quarterbacks. Makes no sense at all.
It doesn't.
That was their obsession, and still he signing Flacco is one thing as a backup. Signing Minshew is like, this guy's so obsessed with quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's like,
let your third string quarterback be some guy that works at Best Buy that's on call. You know, this guy's so obsessed with quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. Let me be the third string quarterback for just like
$1 million a year.
Give me $500K. Give me the minimum. Give me the minimum for a year, and I'll be there.
That's the best job in the world, because in the event that you do have to play, nobody expects you to be good at all.
I know, but you know what's really good? To be like Tom Brady's backup, right? Because the dude never misses time. And if you're the second string, I think it's Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert, who somehow found himself in the AFC Championship game with a tremendous defense, who lost to Tom Brady, now is just holding the clipboard. He don't get to get trashed every day, and he's making a couple mil.
Yeah, he was Jacksonville for a while, right? Blaine Gabbert?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of a Gardner Minshew, man. He would have games.
I thought you were about to try to compare him to Jalen Hurts.
No, he would have games where he put up like 350 yards, and then everybody would be like, oh, look, Blaine Gabbert is good. And then he'd be terrible again. Yeah, I haven't heard his name for a long time.
Yeah, he's the backup for Tom Brady, chilling over there in 10. He got a Super Bowl ring. I don't know if he was the backup last year. I know he's this year. It is what it is. With that being said, listen, we still got over 242 people in when you look at both channels. Again, we are live on 2 channels, of course, Run It Back Philly and the Philly Talk Podcast, aka Run the Ball Podcast. Look, all you got to do is click on the other person's channel. You type it in the search bar. If you like what you see, hit the red button, hit the like button. It goes a long way for the channels, and it's free. I mean, it's damn near free. So hit the like button.
Yes,
this
sir.
is a good one. This is a good one. Of course, we go our ways, right? And then I'm gonna go as soon as something happens on Sunday, I'm all like, well, you can't blame Jalen Hurts, and DJ's like, get him. Nah, I'm just
it sucks because I was rooting for him. I was rooting for. That's the thing. People were like, "Oh yeah, I bet you were a Carson Wentz fanboy." Like, no, I was calling for Carson Wentz to be benched when he was playing terrible. I was ready for a change. I didn't think Jalen Hurts. I thought Jalen Hurts was just a gadget guy back then. But that's kind of because Doug Peterson was just throwing him in like one play randomly in the game where he would run like a wildcat offense for no reason. Everybody knew what was coming. But I was like, do something. Change the quarterback. Carson Wentz is playing terrible. The offensive line's terrible. So I was calling for Carson Wentz to be benched. I thought Jalen Hurts deserved a chance. And even throughout that season, going into the offseason, I was still saying he deserves a chance this year. I always brought up that he beat the Saints and they were the number one defense in the league that year. And then just through like 3 games this season, I was like, man, kind of what everybody was saying in the offseason seems like it was kind of right. I'm pretty honest with myself. I don't really hold on to my opinions and try so hard to be like not wrong. Like, no, you know what? This, and this. And I gotta, well, his numbers and this. Like, I'm just like, I'm kind of seeing what everyone was trying to tell me. And I was denying it for a little while, but it's just looking like in a clean pocket with a wide open throw, it's not accurate.
Yeah, and I'll definitely give you that. You are definitely one to just, say how you feel, and it is what it is.
And it can change every day.
Yeah.
And people tell me, oh, weren't you just saying this last week? Yeah, because that's what I thought last week.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes down to this, like, even though you are saying at this point you don't believe he's the franchise quarterback, you think he makes bonehead plays, you think the guy is athletic, you think all the world of him as a guy, you just don't think he's a good quarterback.
I just think his throws aren't good. I actually think, I was going to say this earlier, does he have like really small hands, do you think?
I don't know.
Like, I just don't think, I'm picturing him throwing the ball. Like, now when I watch it, like, I don't think it's that easy for him to throw it like hard and with a tight spiral and accurate. Like, it just doesn't seem like a big hand and the ball's just kind of like, and he can just fling it. Like, I feel like it's me throwing on NFL football. I got pretty small hands for my size. NFL football is huge. You know what I mean? I can't throw it that far. It's too big. Maybe that's his problem.
Well, he is undersized when it comes to like the big strapping quarterbacks and all that. But real quick, shout out to Hard Side, because I was saying Blaine Gabbert, but it was Blake Bortles the whole time. I don't know why I was on the Blaine Gabbert thing. It's Blake Bortles, who was the Jaguar guy who did some of them things.
Blake Bortles. Oh yeah, Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles. Man, those are both two of the whitest names I ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
Blake Bortles and Blaine Gabbert. Man, sound like 2 country singers.
Yeah, they probably can get them and get them together after they get done being backups. With that being said, yeah. So like I said, I respect, and one thing you have said, even on your deepest, Jalen Hurts ain't the guy. You said, I'm gonna let him have the rest of the year, because if he's not the guy, it just puts us in a situation where it's better chance to possibly get the guy if we are picking with 3 picks inside the top 10, because Miami's trash. Colts look better, but they still got a harder schedule. And then, we're in control of our own destiny. Even though I do think we get the Giants twice, Washington twice. Look, my whole thing is this real quick. I agree that having a worse record is beneficial for your team. But the teams that always pick in the top 5, they have a tendency to stay there, right? They stay there. They're always picking the top 5. To me, I'd rather be a team. And that's if management is good, that's why it's a big if. But if you win 6, 7 games, 5, 6 games, you're not the worst team. You still get a good draft pick, but now you have free agent money. And if there is optimism, if a guy's like, oh, wow, I like how these people are playing, you have a coach that will run, you can get stuff. I feel like if you're picking in the top 5, you get good draft picks, but any big name free agent, unless you're going to pay him super overpaid, like it's a Tobias Harris contract, right? They're like, whoa, I'm not going there. You know what I mean?
JJ Redick that 1 year, $27 million 1 year.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think if you could get into the 5, 6, 7, because even if we only win 5 games, they're going to say, wow, the trajectory's up from last year's debacle, even though it's only 1 game up. If you just show that you're competent, which I don't understand how we do that with Nick Sirianni, but that's where I'd rather be in that middle ground, because I think a 6, 7 win team can go up before the same teams pick. Look at, the Jets are always in the top 5, top 6, and the Jets are the Jets. I don't want to be there. It's my brother's team. And
I don't want to be there either, but I don't want to be there either, but it depends on what you do with that top 5 pick. I mean, realistically, like, for the betterment of like longevity, you should probably trade out of the top 5 and turn it into, more picks and more picks and more picks, because these guys, who knows if the guys in the top 5 are worthy of that pick in any given draft. He just happens to be in the top 5, but can you get the same talent at the end of the first round, in the second round, whatever? Nobody knows. The draft is all a crapshoot, and Howie Roseman is really bad at it too. But I don't want to be there either, but I don't see really a reason to win many games this year. But also Nick Sirianni, I just saw a report from somebody that said he's not on the hot seat and he's going to be the coach next year, basically.
Then let's lose.
I don't see anything good that he's doing. He's not just like he's trying something that looks like it makes sense and it's not working. He's doing like the opposite of everything he should do.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough, especially like I do believe there's low key talent on this team. Like you see Hargrave having a monster year. You see a look when the defense can play defense, the offense is just nowhere. When the offense is moving, the defense is nowhere. Like this team is just on totally different books, different chapters. I mean, one day he's yelling at Jonathan Gannon, and the next day he's yelling at Nick Sirianni because somebody got to do it. I mean, he got to look at himself in the mirror. He just said that the play calling seems fine. We're going to go about our business the same way. And I'm just like, bro, just run the ball. I mean, that could just I mean, even if it doesn't solve the problems, wouldn't you like to just get it off your back? Like I wouldn't be like the people who answer the same questions, right? Even if they don't believe it, just be like, here, you want it, take it, right? And I don't understand how they could be so deliberate. And I'm not giving you guys what you pander to us every other way, right? But you just this is the one thing you refuse to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't get it. He panders to the fans and he acts like he doesn't hear anything they say. And he's saying he's basically said again that they're not looking to change their philosophy, and they're basically going to go into next week doing the same thing. And I when I hear the guy talk, it blows my mind, man. I just can't. The reporters are straight up, and they could be a little bit more direct than they are. But some of them are like, "Hey, do you think maybe you should have give Miles Sanders the ball a little bit more in the first half?" Like straight up question, and he's like, "Yeah, we do want to, we know he's a great player, and we do want to get him the ball, And it's like, and he goes into this whole thing about there's this big giant like equation and philosophy. No, it's not. Look at your stupid giant play sheet and say, give the ball to Miles Sanders. It's not that serious. It's like what?
Yeah, and it's crazy, yo. We before we get out of here, it'd be third down and like 2, and we come out in an empty back set shotgun, right? So there's no, the little bit of doubt that maybe they will run on a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2 because it's that short. Even if we're in the shotgun, it's gone when you don't got nobody there. It's just like I've never seen this at this bad. I thought Doug was like one of the worst. And Doug, I'll take Doug playing call. I'll take Doug's run to pass ratio right now to the bank because Miles will rip run. If Miles get the ball 11 times, 12, 15 times, he'll rip one. Can't do it.
I'm dying at the chat because Life is Living 20 is just he's defending Hurts with his life, man. Devontae Smith isn't a great wide receiver. Dallas Goedert isn't a great tight end. Man, we got to read some of this guy's comments, man. Hurts has only played 10 games. Wentz fans after 6 seasons. Man, this guy's going hard defending Jalen Hurts. You just don't want to accept it, man. You just don't want to accept it. He's not great.
I mean, you can't downplay the skill players, especially when Devontae has been low key doing what he needs to do, and he might not be the first read every time, but he's been getting open. He has his fair share of getting open. The ball got to get there, and like I said, look, I mean it's hard. You can't defend the Buccaneers game. The only thing you could defend on that is that the coaching staff was just probably as bad or worse, but it was bad. I mean, that's why I've been trying to I wanted to get DJ on right after the Chiefs game where I had more of a ball in my corner.
The thing is, somebody that again, and when I compare it to this, people get mad because it's not the same player. It's not even not the same attitude, not anything. I love Jalen Hurts as a person, the way he talks, his mindset and everything. I hate to compare it to this, but the defense of him rubs me like the defense of Ben Simmons. It just does. People are just reaching so hard every day, and now they're sticking to just the numbers and just the stats with no context to it because, Ben Simmons, he led the league in 3-pointers assisted. Yeah, because he plays point guard. He has the ball in his hands the whole game and won't shoot it. You know what I mean? It's all context. So if you want to point to Jalen Hurts passing yards and all this stuff, like everything is context. And now people are just hanging on to one thing to try to say he's actually great and everybody else around him stinks. And it's like all you have to do is watch a play with a clean pocket and a wide open receiver and watch how off target the ball is, and none of your stats matter.
Yeah. Like I said, it's context both sides. You got to look at both of them, including the stats. It's just that and that was one of my biggest thing to come over here and debunk is the Tim Tebow thing, because Tim Tebow is just that bad. I mean, we can get another average quarterback and try to combine them too. But again, here's my take: Jalen Hurts. Let's just go with that list you had. Just let's say he's the 20th best quarterback in the league, or even put him a little back, 23rd, right? This is a guy who is trying to show he's the quarterback, who loves, who is a playmaker, who is a gamer in certain areas. At the end of the game, you need a will to win. Cool. Is he a guy who you're going to be able to rely on day in and day out with consistent throws? At this point, no. Listen, I don't think the biggest Hurts guy is going to say he's consistent thrower, but this team has not done him any favors. And although we said we said some of the same things with Carson Wentz, run the ball more, do play action, this, that, and the third. We didn't see it. And now he's in Indy doing it a little bit. But this team, in context, it's young around the whole area. It's young around the whole area. So Jalen doesn't have the leadership of a good coach, of a former coach. He doesn't have he doesn't even now. Zach Ertz was on a team. He doesn't have that wide receiver that just totally understands coverage. That's going to be like a T.O. or a dog. That's like, listen, I'm beating him every single. Maybe Devontae does that a little bit, and you see him working on stuff. But this is all work in progress. So my thing is this: I can't judge a quarterback in the first 6 games. I can simply say, pretty good game, solid B. Oh wow, he had a F in the Bucs game. It was bad. It was bad. Now, the no quit mentality can get people back on board at the end, but the easy throws were bad. I can't say I seen it. I'm just a guy who's going to give him the bulk of the year, even when I think he's bad. I just not going to say he's super trash, because at the end of the day, that's my quarterback.
Yeah. I'm starting to get tired of his press conferences, to be honest with you. Like, honestly, he's really good at it. Maybe he'll be a motivational speaker someday. He's good at just, the way he articulates and the way that he says things. And it all sounds good until week after week after week, it's not good. And then, what the one game he's like, well, what do you do when you take a deuce? You flush it and you move on. I'm like, that was a little bit weird, bro. Like, I don't know about that one. Don't put that one in your proverb book that you're going to write later in your career. Don't put the flush the deuce and move on one in there. But last week it was like, he was like, it wasn't great. But we're going to be better. And we're this close. And it's like that exclamation point saying, like, he's just so like poetic. I know, and I get I get it, but it's if every week is the same thing, the poetic speeches lose weight. Like, I'm tired of hearing it now.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Like I said, this whole show that we had going, I seen. Again, I will go. I liked him in the Falcons game. I liked him in the first half of the San Fran game. I liked him in the I hated him in the Cowboys game. I liked him in the Chiefs game. Carolina was a struggle, but he pulled it out the end. And then the Buccaneers were just a total. He missed the most amount of throws in the Bucs game, and it's just like, damn, I know DJ's going to get on with me this time, and it's just going to be like, ouch. But to me, it's not really. This is my whole look at it too. I give my opinion, like we that's what we got to do. So we got to have a stance somewhere, right? And then it's when you bring the context of stats is in the third. But you also, I would never do it either. I would never say something that I fully don't believe, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I also will say that even if I do think Jalen could get better, it's not with this coaching staff, and I think he's not going to be able to get it done with this coaching staff. With that all being said, at the end of the day, I'm a fan too. So behind the camera, I'm watching. Well, I don't watch the camera behind anymore. I used to do it, but now it's just like I'm rooting for the team, and I'm living in the moment. But then throughout the week, the moment goes away, and it's like, okay, how can we be better? And to me, there's a pecking order of this team being turning a table. There's a big pecking order, and Jalen Hurts has his part, but I think again, unless you're going to get a quarterback with them first round picks, there's things you can do via coach, via other things that I think Hurts will be a little bit better. So I think when it comes to pecking order, it's like unless you believe in one of these guys, and I haven't done my study and all these college quarterbacks, I just go with right now the national media is like, it's not the greatest quarterback draft. But that does not mean it's going to be that way a couple months. So to me, it's more like, how is this team going to get better? And right now, I think, the biggest thing is Sirianni. So just check this out, right? Imagine this great head scratcher, right? We get rid of Jalen Hurts. We somehow keep Nick Sirianni, and he gets one of these college quarterbacks in his hands. And in the first 6 weeks, he has worse stats than Zach Wilson, and he's just getting destroyed in Philly, right? Zach Wilson had 3 touchdowns to like 6 interceptions one time, right?
Yeah.
Now you got Nick Sirianni destroying him. So like I just think there's a pecking order, and although Jalen got to be better, I just
think after Wentz, because I think Wentz, and he's not very mobile anymore. But I think Wentz was a mobile quarterback, and I think Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback, and I think Wentz's strength his rookie season was making quick reads and running like 5 wide receiver sets and calling. I mean, the guy was like a prodigy.
He was good
at calling the game at the line of scrimmage and stuff. And Frank Reich gave him all the power to do that. And then the torn ACL and the coaching staff, and everything went downhill. I don't think he was in shape coming back that next year. I think he does nothing but drinks homemade beers and shoots turkeys all off season. Like, I literally don't think he does anything. I think he was naturally great at football and great at the position, and he's just kind of a country boy that hangs out in the woods and doesn't really put that much work in. I really think that, because every single year he doesn't really look as athletic as he looked his rookie season. But where was I going with this? His strengths were reading the field, but he was a mobile quarterback, and Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback, and I'm kind of like tired of the mobile quarterback thing at this point. Like, I'm ready for like a 6'5", 240-pound dude that stands in the pocket, throws an accurate football. And then if he gets pressure and he sucks under pressure, you can be like, well, there was pressure. But when he's in the clean pocket with time to throw, he's accurate. That's what I'm ready for.
Hey, I mean, it'd be nice to have a Peyton Manning, like the Drew Brees. Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm about winning. And eventually, that's where we all got to go. No matter if you're Hurts fans or not, the end result, the reason you like Hurts is because he's an Eagle, right? Before Hurts was an Eagle, you still like the Eagles. So we all want the Eagles to go on the right path. We just have different opinions. But this is all we do here is speak our opinion, right? Howie Roseman don't give a god dang thing what we say. And so we can give you guesses. So sometimes I say, this is what I want. This is what I think they're going to do because of how the tea leaves are falling. Right now, Jalen Hurts, I think in Howie's mind says he got to do more when it comes to passing. And we're going to see. But again, it's going to be real scary whether there is one of them 6'5", 240 guys out there that if Nick Sirianni's still here, all I know is that,
somebody brought this up in the chat. This has nothing to do with the Eagles, the DK Metcalf thing. I missed that. Him and Shannon Sharp went back and forth on Twitter.
Yeah, well, Shannon Sharp said when
I didn't see what he did in the game that they were talking about.
I didn't see either, but I think he tried to stay up to fight for yardage and fumbled, right? That's what I think he did. And Shannon Sharp said, "Yo, that's stupid, bro." And he was like, don't. He said something. What did he say?
I saw what he said to him. And he said something like,
"Little boy,
you washed up wannabe."
Well, then they went back even more because at first was like, "Don't question." He was like, "Don't question me, little boy." And then Shannon Sharp said something. No, DK called Sharp little boy. And then everybody was like, he little broed him. And then Shannon was like, you can never question me. You can only dream to have some of the success that I had, blah, 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 blah. And then so that's the last I saw. So then maybe DK had to go one more. I didn't know there was one more. The thing you said would have been the rebuttal to that.
Yeah, he called him a washed up wannabe. Which, what does that even mean? What is a wannabe when you were an
When you
8-time Pro Bowler,
three
4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl champion? That makes no sense at all. But I think some of these kids coming into the league and stuff, they don't do their research, man. And they just see him in a suit on TV talking with Skip
Sharp was that
Bayless.
dude, bro. He was that dude.
Oh my goodness, man! Please, it was because E-Rock retweeted it and he said you might want to Google this man.
Oh. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, DK's is a beast, but I mean, Shannon Sharp was DK before
Good Lord.
DK.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp was a freak, man.
Yeah. But yeah, with that being said, like I said, we will find out what the bottom line is. All I want to do is win some games. And like I said, who knows where the Nick Sirianni roles go. If Howie and Roseman are as deep into the passing analytics side as some people are trying to say, then we're in trouble because they might give Sirianni multiple years, whether it's Jalen, whether it's a top 3 quarterback from this draft, whether it's the top quarterback next draft. I just don't want to be that guy selecting. I mean, the Jets get a new quarterback all the time too. I don't know. Sam Darnold was what the number 1 overall pick.
Probably.
Now Zach Wilson, right? And these are both big strapping guys.
Yeah.
They didn't survive.
And Sam Darnold still doesn't look good.
Well, he did have his worst game against us. I have to say that. So shout out to the defense.
It's true. They were bad throws.
And listen, I'm all for that as long as he clears his name. You know what I mean? Just, he got to clear his name. I don't even know what's going on with that anymore.
Somebody makes a good point with Deshaun Watson, though, that when he was on the Texans, right after they traded the number 1 receiver, that they weren't very good. So, put Deshaun Watson on this team. That gets us a couple more wins, maybe. Is that a savior?
And that's what I wanted to say. This is the last thing we'll say before we get off because we're on 2 hours now.
If you're packaging those 3 first-round picks or something like that,
yeah,
you still got Alex Singleton.
Yeah, you can't replace him. And hey, DJ, look, what Deshaun Watson did last year, they said it was a tremendous quarterback and they also put in context what he was working with and stuff, right? But he had top 5 quarterback stats, right? But they won 4 games, right?
Yeah.
They won 4 games. So that's what I'm saying. Some of the top guys are great players, but they're also in great situations. I don't want to take nothing from Dak Prescott or nothing, but if Dak Prescott's on the Texans, right? Are they still, they're a 4-win, a 5-win, a 3-win? I mean, like, who knows? They're just suited. It's just the NFL is different than the NBA. You get a LeBron James on your team, you're going to be decent because one player got so much leverage over the coach on offense, defense, is that and the third. And there's so many games. It's just wild because Deshaun Watson is the truth.
So it's the Texans. Our team is way better than the Texans. No, they're not. We do have more weapons. I'll give you that. We have more offensive weapons. We would have a better receiving core right now. At least
Cooks
it looks
was
like.
Killing it though. I mean, Cooks is not better than Devontae Smith. I don't think he is. But Brandon Cooks, when healthy, his problem has been health. I mean, I don't know. I just know that the Texans, they got to the playoffs one time, and that was when they had D-Hop. That's when they had J.J. Watt. That's when they had who was that long time cornerback before he got old? He was good.
On the Texans.
Yeah, he was like pretty good. He played until like the very end. Like he needed a cane at that point. I forgot his name. Jonathan Joseph or something Joseph. Chat will let me know if they know. All I'm saying is, top 5 quarterback, 4 wins, and we might be a little bit more talented than the Texans are, but I don't think by a lot just because of the newness, right? I mean, Nick Sirianni's now working with Deshaun Watson, right? So he's not giving the ball to the running backs. Right. I don't know. I mean, it's tough.
That's the thing. Deshaun Watson can run an RPO better than Hurts. So I'll give him that. If Nick Sirianni's obsessed with
Oh,
this
Deshaun
RPO,
Watson is better than Hurts, of course. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 guy. I mean, like I said, there's
but
two.
I don't know if that gets us. If we win 5 games this year, maybe that gets us 8. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, knowing that you have 3 first-round picks, you gotta Jonathan Joseph. Shout out to you. You gotta pick what you want to do. Like, all right, look, listen. Fletch is getting old. BG, Kerrigan, and you got Slay, who's in his 30s, right? And even beyond that, you got so many 1-year deals. Nelson, Wilson, Harris, Barnett is going next year, even though you might want to be. You're losing so many defensive players, right? So you got to figure out how you're going to rebuild, right? You just got. Unfortunately, if you guys don't believe he's the quarterback, you invested a 2nd-round pick on Jalen Hurts. He's 20. You got Miles Sanders. You got Kenneth Gainwell, who are under 24. Devontae, Rager, and Quez. Dallas Goedert is going to get extension. Your offense is set. You're really supposed to say to yourself, maybe an offensive line here, but later in the draft, because you got the GOAT offensive line coach in Stoutland, who can change the Driscolls of the world. Kelsey was a 6th-round pick. Samalu was a late-round pick. They're good because I'm not saying just because of him, but he's part of the reason. So you got to build defense. So do you take the route where you build a defense? If Hurts continues to stink, you're building a team, but you're always going to be in a spot to possibly get a quarterback. Then you do get the quarterback, and it's already built. Because what's the best way to win? When a quarterback, if your quarterback is really good, he got to be on a rookie contract, right? Because as soon as he signed, after 4 or 5 years, you got to pay that quarterback damn near $40 million if he's good. If he's a top 10 quarterback, you got to pay him $40 million. So if you have a team, then you got 4 years on a rookie contract while he's still good. Like Carson Wentz rookie contract, he was good all them years until he was good until he tore his ACL, right? Same with how what's his name is. If Trevor Lawrence got drafted to a good play, Kyler Murray's still on a rookie contract, right? These are guys that are on their contract and their team is kind of built. I mean, it's so many ways you can go about it. But if you get a good quarterback and your team trash, well, when your team's starting to get good, you got to pay your quarterback $40+ million because that's going to be the norm in 3 years.
Yeah. It's true. And as somebody just said, agree we need defense, but no quarterback, no win. But that's the thing. You're going to have to get to the point where you accept that you're not going to be good for 3 years. That you accept that you build the defense. You Buffalo Bills had a great defense for, I feel like, 2 seasons in a row before Josh Allen came along. They were like, we're just gonna have a great defense. They had Tyrod Taylor out there running around for what felt like 10 years. For some reason, it was always Tyrod Taylor, but they didn't have a quarterback. They focused a lot defensively, and I think that's what we needed to start doing for a while. Howie Roseman just has no interest in the safeties or the linebackers, or the corners outside of trading or signing free agents. The Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs thing just eats me alive with Howie Roseman, man. How'd they get 2 great defensive players in the same draft, and here we are?
Oh no, they were different drafts.
Micah Parsons was Trayvon Diggs was the draft before that. Yeah, you're right. It's still 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
but
but
put 2 guys on that side of the field.
They crushed. They got CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs back to back. That was the 1st and 2nd-round pick. They got a stud on offense and a stud on defense. Like it's legit.
At the end of the day, we can argue over Hurts, we can argue over the coach, we can argue over all this stuff. There's not many people that are on Howie Roseman's side at this point.
Nah, not at all. So that's something that we can all have
we can all agree on that
podcast. You know what I mean? Everybody in the chat finally agrees.
Because none of this matters if Howie Roseman screws it up again. None of this matters.
Yeah. But like you said, it's hard. And that's where you got to think. Again, this all goes on the person making the picks, making the right picks, because you're going to have a lot of picks this year. So it's like the defense is the glaring spot. Possibly the quarterback is the glaring spot if you don't believe in Hurts. But what do you think you can manage better? Can Hurts can possibly get better in a year, 2 or 3. The defense, you got to get people out there because 3 years from now, there's no Fletch, there's no BG, there's none of these guys. So it's to pick your poison. You can't just fix everything at once. And I didn't even think about this until I said it though. If we do get a quarterback though, this draft, especially if we're not the top guy, right? So say Miami starts winning the game. Say the either our pick or Miami pick is the closest one, and it's like 6, right? Or 5th overall, 4th overall. Well, you still if there's really only one good quarterback there, you might have to give 2 first rounds to get all the way up to the first. So what I'm saying is you're going to give the bulk of your picks away to get this quarterback who
Uh-huh.
now has Nick Sirianni as his coach. The defense, who they lost a lot of people. Now they're just doing now they're getting dollar store defenders even more, right? Not $1.99 defenders. And so we're putting a lot of responsibility on him. And even if he's good or bad, it's like I said, the money's going up all around, but we're not just a quarterback away to being great. I think we got to fix a couple things. A D line,
Exactly.
we got to fix a couple things. Shout out to JB with the $5 super chat. So glad we got Howie picking our players. Said no one ever, and that's where we all get along.
Yeah, how many years in a row can he be bad at drafting? That's what I just don't know. I think he's, what did he say, in the last 10 years he drafted 1 Pro Bowler. I mean, I don't get how long he can survive. And when people say like Jeffrey Lurie's in charge or Howie Roseman's in charge and these guys and Nick Sirianni is the yes man and he's just doing what they want him to do, what they want him to do is 2-5. Like, it doesn't make sense. Do they want to win? Or do they, well, this is what I want to do, so do what I say. Okay, then we're going to suck every year. It doesn't make sense.
And then something like this happens. And although he missed in the same draft on the first round tackle, he gets the 7th round tackle that just comes true. And it's like, how did he do that? He found a diamond in the rough.
Right, he did. And but that's also, I mean, the guy's 6'8", 350 and runs a 5.0 40-yard dash. Like, if somebody was going to take him in the 7th round and say, this dude's massive and can move his feet, I'm making him an offensive lineman. Like, I mean, I don't think it was that genius.
But then he gets a Quez Watkins in the 6th round. See, so it's like, listen,
Yeah.
I'm all for out Howie. Look,
and I love Jordan Mailata. I'm just saying it was kind of obvious. He's a giant person that can move fast. Somebody was going to make him an offensive lineman.
Just go to Australia and start saying, hey, line up all the rugby players. Okay, you're too short. Get him out of here.
Bro, you see his clips. He's bigger than everybody on the field, man. He was wild. I put him at running back. Seriously, I hand him the ball off at least once a game. Goal line? What are we doing? Goal line? We're in shotgun, running sweeps and options. Put Jordan Mailata on the goal line, man. Come on. Nobody's stopping that dude.
Nope. It's crazy. But like I said, look, I mean, from the optimism of this season to the 2-4 start to whatever we can see salvage this season, to Nick Sirianni, to the unknowns about Jalen Hurts, to the defense being old, to the same general manager. This is a really, really wild. It's a wild time. And it's like, I just hope some things transpire. Like, ooh, all right, these young pieces are getting better. You know, we drafted a cornerback in McPherson. He's young and it's in the 4th quarter, so he probably won't play much this year. I just want to start seeing some of the young pieces develop, whether it's a Kevon Wallace, whether it's a Davion Taylor, who did look pretty good in the limited snaps at linebacker. Like, we need to start seeing some stuff, or we're gonna be broke and we're gonna be just bad.
I'm the most negative right now that I've been in a long time about the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't see anything good happening, especially with the same GM that can't seem to get it right.
Yeah,
he got it right before. That's the thing. He got it right before.
Via trades, though. The trades is what
trades and free agent signings. Yeah,
yeah. Because look, think about it. All right, there were definitely draft picks that were part of it, and Howie did draft Zach Ertz, right? And Lane Johnson was here. Lane might have been Chip. I don't know.
So Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham were before he was in charge.
All right, there you go. But like, let's look at like key contributors that season, right? No matter what you say, Patrick Watt Robinson, although he was trash on the outside, when we shifted him to the inside corner, the slot corner, he was the #1 graded corner in the league. He was big part of that Minnesota crushing. So Patrick Robertson, a free agent signing. Alshon Jeffrey, free agent signing. Troy Torrey Smith, free agent signing.
Yep. Torrey Smith, forgot about him.
AJ Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blunt, Corey Clement was a undrafted free agent. So I'm taking it as a signing because you didn't use a draft pick for it, right?
Yep.
I mean, just a boatload, and it just all clicked. Nick Foles, we drafted him, but we went and signed him as the backup. Like it was a perfect storm of signings with the talent that you did have on your team via Howie/Chip. And it worked. And even Aguilar that year, no matter how much we hate him, he was really good in the slot that year.
Huh?
It was just a perfect storm.
You had a great defense, a great defensive line, and you had a quarterback that his rookie year looked like. Yeah, Chris Long too. You had a quarterback his rookie year that looked like, oh, look at this guy. This guy's gonna be elite. So you had those free agents that were like, this is a top 2 or 3 defense. And a quarterback that looks like he can get me the ball. You know, Alshon Jeffrey's like, hell, you sign me up. You know, Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blunt, all these everybody bought in because it looked like it was trending in the right direction. This does not look like it's trending anywhere close to the right direction anytime soon. There's no free agents coming around.
Yeah, and the only way you get free agents around is if you're going the right way. The only reason we got these guys is because it was on 1 year deals, and they wanted to come here, and maybe if they're not good, they wanted to show, because when you're on 1 year deal, you're not only showing the Eagles what you got, you're showing the rest of the league. So like Steven Nelson say he has a good year the rest of the year, he's on a 1 year deal. Unless the Eagles pay him, there's going to be other teams like, wow, he was pretty good on the Eagles. We'll take him for a 3 year deal, pay him, and he'll come compete. So you can't get 1 year guys back if we're so trash, if we're like a tank mode team. So it's just like, just win the game. Just win the game.
I don't think it's gonna be the Raiders, but I wanted to talk about the remaining schedule because, you know, the Giants. Did the Giants just win this weekend?
No, they got destroyed.
Who did they play? I didn't even look at it.
Rams.
The Eagles played on Thursday, and I didn't pay attention to what happened on Sunday. I had such a busy Saturday. I think I was just sleeping Sunday, I wasn't even watching football. I was actually
enjoying watching good football. It was just some good football.
I usually do when they don't play. I usually put on the red zone and stuff. I don't know what I was doing on Sunday. But anyway, the Giants are terrible. We can take one of those or maybe 2 of those. You know, there's definitely winnable games. It's not like we're going to be 4-14, 4-13. Where's my math?
Yeah. See, so I was kind of saying I think we beat the Giants twice, split with Washington. I think we beat Dallas at the end of the season for the simple fact that they're going to be so far ahead. We're going to be playing against Cooper rushing them, right? So right,
is it Ben DiNucci's not there anymore?
Nah, they got
Chef
rid of him.
DiNucci.
Chef DiNucci.
Remember that Philly 500 reaction when he came in that game and he said they ran out of quarterbacks. They had to get the chef making meatballs in the back. There's Chef DiNucci's on the field.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He was killing it with that. So, like you said, I think, you know, 2 Giants, 1 Washington, Cowboys. That's 4 more wins right there, right? So if we do that, if we beat the Giants twice, Washington once, and the Cowboys, because the Cowboys game is the exact last game. There's no way if the Cowboys are 14-2, and they're looking to be like that, they're resting their guys, so that's going to be an easy win. So
and we might have Minshew in at that point, so we, you know,
I knew you were going to slide with him in.
Might be an easy dub.
So that's 4 wins right there, right? So that's already 6, and now you're talking about maybe a Lions, maybe a Jets. Right? I'm not saying we automatically beat the Lions or the Jets, but just to say we split that, right? 2 trash teams, the Lions and the Jets. You're still now staring at a 7-win team. You're like, how did we get there? But we got there.
Yeah, because, you know, there's a lot of bad teams. You know, we stand a chance against bad teams, as you could see, at least in the Atlanta game. And I've been saying Hurts looks okay to decent against bad defenses. And as soon as we play a top 5 defense, he does not look good at all. But, you know, I think he can put up numbers against bad teams enough to win probably 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, and that keeps you in the range. Now, like I said, we do got the Dolphins and the Colts pick to pay attention to, where the Dolphins are playing so bad. We might be able to, perfect scenario is we win 7, maybe 8 games, and the morale's good. I don't understand how that happens though with Sirianni. That's just my biggest thing. But if the morale
Yeah.
is good, then you're like, okay, because we got buku dollars next year. So you exchange some of the bad pieces for some good pieces. And Philadelphia is still a big market city. So if we're a 7-win team on a rookie quarterback, rookie coach, like I'm trying to still like hide that Nick Sirianni is a fraud, right? So, but like on the surface, it's like rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. They come off a 4-win season. They win 7 games. They got money. They got draft picks. That's a trending up.
He was an offensive coordinator though, but he was Frank Reich's offensive coordinator, which means he was making his coffee basically. Like Frank Reich's an offensive coordinator. Frank Reich
Yeah,
runs
he
the
calls the
show on the
plays. He
offensive
calls the
side. Like,
plays.
yeah, Nick
Shout,
Sirianni wasn't doing anything in Indianapolis. He just wasn't.
yeah, shout to Pope Platinum. He said if the Eagles lose to the Raiders and Lions, Nick's fired. That would put us what 2-6.
I don't think
Lion-
he is because, like somebody said in the chat, that this is all Howie's plan. They're tanking on purpose. Maybe they are.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then Hurts is really out of there. And some people are speculating that this is all being done on purpose to get Hurts out of there. And I'm not trying to get into all that. I'm just talking about that. But that's enough for me. And I don't like to jump off ship early for anybody, but it's that rough. It's that rough all around. But like, hey, if you heard it on if you heard the view from 30,000 feet up, right? Like, forget that Nick Sirianni don't run the ball. Forget about this. If you're talking about a Super Bowl winning coach and a former almost MVP in Carson Wentz, that team itself got destroyed and only won 4 games. You start the season with a new coach, new quarterback, both rookies. Somehow you go from 4 wins to 7 or 8. Plus you got draft picks and money. It sounds like a good destination from 50,000 feet up high, right? You're talking about double the wins, money, draft picks. You would think the arrow's pointing up, but somehow I can't talk it with Nick Sirianni being there.
I can't either. I don't think he's known what he's doing since he got here. I just thought back to the double end around Philly special that he tried to run. And it just like the t-shirts are pandering to the fan, but he actually pandered to the fans on the field with a play call. Like, he thought that would be so dope. Let me call the Philly special, man. When they catch us in the end zone, I'm going to be a hero. Like, I don't get the guy, man.
They're going to give me a statue.
Yeah, I don't get the guy. Because when you talk about young coaches that have had success in this league, would any of them have ever considered running that play in that situation on 4th and, what was it, 4th and 10?
It was 4th and little. Like, a run play would have been perfectly fine. Run it.
Yeah, they didn't, yeah, we were 1st and goal. We didn't run the ball in, and I think there was a penalty in there too. I think it was a 5th play.
And that might
on
have been
the goal line.
Back.
Yeah. It was a 5-yard of holding or false start or something. Yeah, it was just ridiculous that he tried to pull that off, and it just shows me that he was more interested in, pleasing the fans with this kind of superstar special play than like putting thought into what he's doing and succeeding. And I just don't think there's really a thought process there.
I know, but like, how crazy is it with our schedule being that bad? How crazy. And listen, Nick Sirianni is that bad, and his team offensively sometimes is that bad, where I said we beat the Giants twice and split Washington once, but maybe that's the flip. Maybe we lose all of them. Like, there's an opportunity to be that bad. But it's crazy that I'm somehow seeing a scenario with the Lions, the Jets, the Giants twice, Washington, that we can win. If we get to 7 games, which 7 and 9 was my prediction early. 7 was like, okay, that's what it is. And 9 was like, if things come together, we might 9 wins might be all right. You might slip into something. 7 wins, again, from 50,000 feet. If you don't know who how it happened, you're like 7 wins, draft picks, and money. That's you're on the right way. But that's crazy. If we win 7, I mean, I don't even know what's going on at this point. Like, I just want to see Nick Sirianni run the ball so I can just then look at him in a different light, just one time, just one game.
I think Howie and Laurie winning the Super Bowl in the way that they did, it was great. I enjoyed it. I was on one of the best times of my life as a Philly fan. But now, a couple years later, it seems to be the worst thing that could have happened to these guys' egos, because they hired Doug Peterson with no experience. The combination of him and Frank Reich and whatever it was, Carson Wentz going 11-2 or 11-3, and then Nick Foles being just turning into Joe Montana out of nowhere. They now think that they're geniuses, and they now think that I'm going to hire another inexperienced coach and I'm going to do the same thing, and it's clearly not working. So, but I don't see these guys looking themselves in the mirror and saying I don't know what I'm doing here because they think they do because they won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's how we won it it's how we no pun intended, how we won it because it was like how he was making all the chess moves. You see, I did this, that, and the third. I went shopping and I got it. And then of course, a couple of the homegrown guys like whether Chip was still there, but the Fletch I think it was just a perfect sprinkle. And they were like, we can do it again anytime we want to. We just got to get the dollars right and this, that. And it's not being built right. And I'm a firm believer when you get a coach, if the coach is good, you're paying him to do the job. Like, stay out of football operations. I can't tell Jeff Lurie how to run his own business, but the successful business around just the world is you put if you got a CEO of a company, right? You put him in charge because you believe in him, right? Why are you paying this guy if you're going to be Jerry Jones? Get rid of them, come out and be like that. Be like, Howie's no longer in charge, right? Like Jerry Jones' son is the general manager just because they do things together. Like, just if you want to run it. Just why are you paying these guys?
Jeffrey Lurie doesn't know enough about football, I don't think, either to do that. Not that Jerry Jones has had that much success.
They draft good
doing it either. They do. But yeah, you're just the owner, bro. You're just the guy with the money. That's all you are. And yeah, but that again, when we're talking about egos, the richest man in the room always thinks he's the smartest man in the room. Always. Even if he was born with a silver spoon, even if he was born into millions of dollars, bro, you just grew up and all you had to do was buy businesses and make more money and buy businesses and make more money. I'm not saying it does, like, you could fail, but that you're not the smartest guy in the room just because you have the most money, but it's impossible to get a guy with that ego and that money to accept that. So I don't feel like this is going to change for a long time because of those egos that are in charge.
Yeah, and what I want him to feel good about is this. I was smart enough to get these scouts. The scouts that I got are good. I let them do their job and they did their job, right? Scouts are the ones who really are deep diving the analytics to be like, well, he's a third round pick, but he's only there because of this, but we can see, whatever it is, you know what I mean? But just be happy that you found the right scouts. Don't find the scouts, pay them to do the job and still be like, listen, I don't care. Jalen Reagor at 21. I know it's it.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. The scouts don't even like the guy. Like, you could see the one guy didn't even want to give him the fist bump at the end of that clip. Man, they don't even like the guy. It said it. Scouts that have left have said it. He doesn't listen to the scouting department at all. What's the point of this?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. But like, if I'm the richest guy, right, I'm still congratulating myself. Like, I put this front office in the perfect place to succeed, and then I let them do it. I let them do it.
The front office, not the players. Exactly. You put the front office together.
Put the front office together. These scouts are listen, I'm paying these scouts more money than the Browns are paying their scouts for a reason. Now do your job. Not going to pay them buku dollars for me to mess it up, because this is the thing. What Lurie should be doing is this. If the scouts do mess it up, then go get new ones. Continue to do that, but don't have people and then just override it. You're like, I was playing NCAA and this guy's real good, or I don't know what you're doing. Just don't do it.
Exactly, man. You ever work for a company and every time the owner comes around, he wants to like put his hands in stuff and be like, well, why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing this? Bro, you show up every 6 months. We got this. Like, we do this every day.
Exactly.
You on the just ground. Make the money. Just shut up and make the money.
Yeah. All I would say to him is, did the bank account look good last month? Well, then it's doing it right. Don't change it up.
Sit in the office and look out the window. All right.
Yeah,
you're in a blessed position to not have to actually do any work in life. Just sit there and shut up. But that's it. Actually, I think it's boring maybe to be in that position. Really.
Yeah.
They get bored. They want their hands in it.
That's crazy. But yeah, you're right. And see, I hate going into that because once we get into that, it's like it makes me more believe that and I hate saying it because if it is true, it's a bigger thing than just replenishing the defense or figuring out Hurts or even Sirianni. If they're really all up in the cookie jar like that, then you got a long-term problem, like the longest of
They
all
are.
long.
They had an analytics department telling Doug Peterson when he should go for 2 or not based on based on the odds of it succeeding. Like, we're overcomplicating the hell out of a very simple game, dude.
Yeah. I think analytics are good sometimes, but it's still the general feel for the game. That's what always got to rule.
Man, somebody brought up Josh Harris and Ben Simmons. The Sixers ownership's the same situation. They had analytics departments that were making the lineups that were on the court at a certain time in the game. I'm talking about dudes sitting in an office making a spreadsheet are picking the lineups. This is insane. This is so stupid.
It is. It's like, and so like 7 o'clock games, we need to play this guy this many minutes. But when at 9 o'clock games, he gets a little extra boost. And
yeah, they pulled out Joel Embiid at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter every single game.
Every game.
Because the guy sitting next to like the graphic designer made the lineup. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's stupid. Like you got like there's been games where Joel went off early in the first quarter, right? And it's like, well, it's time to pull him because they say this works. Well, no, don't do it. Let the man just made six straight baskets. Let him go. Let Big Dog eat.
And Brett Brown was the yes man that did whatever they said. And then he finally was the scapegoat after probably 2 or 3 extra seasons of them thinking a yes man was going to work. So maybe this new Sirianni thing is the Brett Brown situation where the ownership thinks it's going to work, and it's going to take 2 or 3 seasons for them to finally be like, okay, we got to fire him now to save our asses.
Yeah, and that's the biggest scare because then that really puts you behind. That's a 3-year wait for no reason, and that's the biggest scare. The people who like Sirianni because he talked ball, right? It's like a presidential campaign, man. They say everything and then they get hired. They don't do a goddamn thing. Anyway,
none of them, this side or this side. By the way, don't start fighting in the chat.
Yeah,
none of them do anything.
But like the way Nick Sirianni sold me on just the movement, the player in right situations, all that stuff. I mean, just you didn't put one player in right. You didn't do one. You got 11 offensive players. You didn't put one. Anyways, just knowing that it really could come down to stuff that we have no control over. And that was the biggest narrative. If you didn't like Nick Sirianni, it was he's only here because he's a puppet. And I didn't want to believe the puppet thing because if that's true, well, then I can't make a Jeffrey Lurie video every single day. I got to talk about Sunday. But it all trickles down to Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman if he's the puppet. That's why I try to give if somebody tells me the NFL is rigged, I don't believe it because then why am I going to continue to watch it, right? I got to believe it's not. And I do believe it's not. Is there cheaters? Yes, there's cheaters. But I got to believe in that. And if he's the puppet, then what are we doing? We're just stuck. So it's going to be funny because whoever watches this on the rerun, it's gonna go. I'm gonna listen. If y'all want to get into the front office stuff, start watching around 2 hours. We got 30 minutes of front office stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It got deep for a second. We're talking about rich versus poor, and gets political a little bit, man.
It does because I'm poor. But
I'm in my attic right now. This isn't even a real wood panel wall behind me, man.
This is just a green sheet. I'm in my attic too. Thank God it's not summer no more, right? Because it'd be hot.
Yo, that Philly Fresh. What's up, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
with that being said, though, I think we went over a lot. You know what I mean? All I can say is this, though. If we beat the Raiders, right? Like, say all right, scenario, we beat the Raiders and Jalen Hurts, was a big part of us beating it. I don't even know what to say about Nick Sirianni because I just don't want to just up and lie. At least we saw Jalen Hurts have some good games. He's had bad games too. Don't get me wrong.
You're fighting with yourself every time. You're like, if we do this, oh yeah, Nick Sirianni.
Shit. Yeah, damn. I'm not gonna say that, but Yeah, so I mean, if we again we lose to the Raiders, now that's we're bloody blah. We got some other easy games, and I'll give you that. I was still starting to think the Raiders were more of a pushover. I don't think so. So you know, look, it's a what have you done for me lately season, and although we have some deep hatred for certain players on the team and coaching staffs, I don't think hatred in the sense of them as a person, just that they're not the right fit. Right? Let's say it that way better. You know, narratives can change so quickly. The Eagles go on a 3-game winning streak. It's like, what? And the Raiders being the biggest hump, which is going to be tough to do. But say you knock down the Raiders and then you got the Lions next, and you knock down the Lions, and then I don't know the next one, maybe it's the Jets or something. And then you start stringing them off. It's like the narrative can change easily in football because of how short and how compact the schedule is. Whereas like basketball, you got to go on like you got to see like 20 games. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Before you
Yep.
can say 1 week can change. It's only one win, but you don't get to talk. You don't get to watch another game for another week, and and it's just that's what it is. And I don't know. This season's been it's been a long season already.
It has. It has. It's weird because I told you 100 times, I came into this with no expectations, and
I try to get anybody who don't.
I thought I was finally going to have an Eagles season where I didn't like get pissed off and be frustrated. But like Nick Sirianni actually took it to the next level. Like I didn't had no expectations at all, but I didn't expect it to be this ridiculous. So I'm like, bro, I didn't expect us to be good, and I'm still mad because I'm still like, what are we doing?
Yeah, because we're Nick Sirianni is inventing new ways to be bad, and that is the
That's
the hard
true.
part. It's like, bro, there's just one thing that you can do that we still might lose, but can you try it out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can you just try it out? It's part of football. I
We
mean,
used to get mad.
other
I used to get mad at Andy Reid for giving Westbrook the ball 15 times. Nick
yeah,
Sirianni's bragging about giving Sanders the ball 9 times.
and like 6 of them were in the fourth quarter where it was like,
Exactly. And he
yeah,
blamed it on the defense. Yeah, once so they were that's what they were showing us there in the box, and once they started showing us that, then we gave him the ball, and then he had success. Like you just took credit for Miles Sanders having success again. You waited 4 quarters, and you were like, "Oh, the defense is showing us this. Let's run the ball." He's a
yeah.
liar too, and he said they're RPOs. He said they were RPOs, the runs that they handed the ball to Miles Sanders. And if you watch those replays, they are absolutely not RPOs. They're
Just quick
scripted run plays. He's a liar.
Yeah, that's the worst part. He's lying.
He's up there just
Dr.
making stuff
Seuss
up.
cap. Yeah, it's big cap. I can't understand why he just won't do it. It doesn't make sense. It's part of the game.
He's gonna lose the
Part of the
he's
game.
gonna lose the locker room too. You know what I mean? Because these players aren't like these are grown men. They got egos and they want to win, and they got things going on too. And if they think this young coach has no clue what he's doing, like if we think it, imagine somebody that plays football and practices every day with this guy. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna start losing all of them. They're not buying in. Like this dude is not it, bro.
Yo, I'm already a little bit on the conspiracy theories because look, my last video, right? And I took 2 days off. I didn't make a video on Saturday or Sunday, but on Friday I made a video, and there was a little clip that I saw about Devontae Smith walking out, and I could have sworn he said, "I don't know why we don't just run the ball." Now I told everybody if I'm bugging, let me know. But he someone else was
I watched
talking.
it a couple of times. I couldn't make out like exactly what he was saying.
I might not. I went back and watched it more because people were just talking mad shit in the conversation. But that's how it be, right? But you see the Jason Kelsey like after a 6-yard loss on another screen, he's just like, "I'm done."
Yeah,
You know,
he threw his He threw yep.
that's legit. And that's somebody who wants to get to the second level, and all those screens can do it. If it's not working, the only other way you get him to the second level is running the ball. That's the only other way you get him to the second level. Do you remember it was the Falcons game where they did a sweep pass for Miles Sanders, and Kelsey was out there leading the way to block and knocking 2-3 guys down? That's the way you can get him involved. He's a little big dog for a reason. He is an undersized center. Although he battles, his best attribute is in space. Screens do it, but when the screens are not working, there's only one other way to do it: run the ball. And then, do you see the Charger fan that was like, "Have fun with Shane Steichen and all the screens"?
I saw that tweet. Yeah, it said Eagles fans prepare for a lot of screenplays.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that one where was it Kelsey that threw his hands back like yo whatever.
Yep.
I think it was like two screens in a row, like in our inside of our own like 20, 30 yard line,
Yeah, and they
and he
gained
was like,
negative
"Yo,
not 8 yards or something
yeah,
like that. And so that's the thing. And again, it's Nick Sirianni calling it, but it's like the guy who's giving him advice, maybe he's like, well, Nick, if you don't want to call the run game, we always got a nice little special screen for you. It's just I don't
oh
understand
man."
it, and I'm at the point now where it's dang near almost 12 o'clock. This team is breaking my heart even more. Uh, see, that's
We,
part of the
we,
reason why I don't
we had
do.
a lot of frustrations to get out, man.
Yeah, because I wake up at 4 in the morning.
Oh
Uh,
snap!
nah, but
I would have been asleep.
nah, it's all right. I could do it for the Eagles every once in a while, but
I've been trying. Here's my problem. Like I've been streaming at night lately, and actually starting in a couple weeks, I'm going to be working during the day finally for the first time in years and years and years. So I'm excited, and I think most of my streams are going to be 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I get on stream, and then it's like midnight, and I'm tired. And Uh, I've been trying to watch a Squid Game,
so am
and I
I. I'm supposed to be starting it,
bro,
but I can't. I spend my time on here.
every time I get off here, I go try to watch Squid Game. I fall asleep. I restarted the second episode. I swear to God, 7 times.
Oh
Because
man.
I fall asleep every time. So, but I finally got through the third episode, so I'm getting somewhere. But now it's midnight. I'm gonna go try to watch it and fall asleep again. I wake up and Netflix is on like the seventh episode. I gotta try to find out where I was. It's terrible.
It is terrible. But the guy who wanted me to watch it, and he's one of my boys too, because I got him the job there. So he was my boy outside. I got him the job. He's like, "You still didn't watch it?" I'm like, and sometimes he be low key coming to my streams, and whatever I need to watch, he'll be saying to watch it, and I'll sometimes I'll pull it up and all that. But yeah, that's my preferred stream time is like 7, 8 o'clock because I'm up at 4 and I don't get home until 3:30, and so it's like I got the kids. We do the kids thing, and shout out to the great subscribers that listen, that watch the videos because I'm saying we do this because of you, and we do this, you
Yeah.
know.
Shout out to yeah, man. Like as soon as it started to grow, like when I first started, I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'll probably put up videos for like a year, see what happens, see if I get, And now that we're at where we're at, we're like, we almost feel obligated. You know what I mean? Like I got to talk about this, I got to talk about that. The people are waiting for it. They'll start hitting you up on Instagram or whatever. Where's your post game video? Where's it? You know what I mean? Because they love the content, and now
Yeah.
we're like, we love giving the content, and the people like hearing it. So now it feels like an obligation. It doesn't feel like a job though, by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Nah.
that.
But yeah,
And
you're
if
right, because I took 2 days off and I'm just like, I got some of the same things. Yo, what's up with you? And I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I took because the Eagles playing on Thursday. We don't see that. And normally I would have something. And so I took 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday. But Sunday was much watching some NFL.
I
And then
scrolled up because somebody's gonna spoil Squid Game in the chat. I scrolled all the way up. I'm not reading it. I know somebody's gonna put something in there that I don't want to see.
yeah, someone just said it's official, bro. Y'all gotta watch it, and I am. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not watching tonight because, like I said, I'm going to bed soon. But yeah, so that's me. That's why I've always done it like this at this time.
Yeah, I
That's
feel
what
you.
I always been. And the first year I couldn't do the Sixers because I worked at morning shifts, but I also worked overtime, and I had to sometimes come home, do something, and then go back and clock in for another hour or two. So it was like I got to watch the games, but I couldn't do nothing. And then the next day, I don't get out of work until another game was already on. I'm not gonna package them. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
well, I
tough.
can't do Sixers. But that's has always been. It's always been Eagles, Sixers for me. Phillies, if they're good, I'll watch them. I'm all Philly, but I'm just not that into baseball. This is what it is, you know what I
I'm
mean?
the same way. I'm the same way. I'll put on. I'm a basketball guy number one. Like I'll put on. I'll watch the African League. I'll watch the WNBA. I'll watch any basketball game
By the
that's on
way, we
TV.
could use the WNBA team in Philly, right? Chicago just winning that. You know
We
what I mean? That
could.
was kind of cool for them. We could
When it
use
comes
them.
to football, I'll watch NFL games. I'll watch college football. I'm not really that into it. So I'm like one basketball, two football. Baseball, I'm the same way with the Phillies. Like when they're good, it's fun. When they're bad, it's like, well, I'm not watching this. You know what I mean? And I'm not one of those random baseball game kind of guys. I'm not going to sit down and watch the Dodgers versus the Yankees. Like I'm just not that kind of guy. I can't do it.
It got to be the Phillies, and it
Has to be my
got to
guys.
mean
Yeah,
something too. Like
exactly.
that's what it is. Hey, shout out to Easy Money though. He said that I don't know what's going on in the Bills game because I wasn't watching it, but you had a $1,000 on the money line, and they lost, or they were short on third down. What's the score of that game?
1,000 on a money line. Oh my goodness, man. Play
My
a
wife would
spread at
kill me.
least.
My wife, hey, you should try what's it called too?
Gotta go
Becky
BetQL with that. Yeah. Gotta at least use BetQL if you're putting 100 grand up.
lost. Yep, Rob. That's crazy. That's wild. I can't do that. My wife will kill me. But with that being said, Run the Ball podcast, bigger problems, Sirianni or hers. If you're just getting in here now, go back and watch the first hour is Eagles content. The second hour is front offense content. So
Yeah. You can break it up too. I actually want to start doing that with my streams where you can put timestamps in the video.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that with this video. I think because I never did that, and there's some other content creators that do mostly like post game live shows and stuff, and they'll put timestamps in it so you can hop around and get what you want from it. Because I got people hit me up now that I've been streaming more, like, yo, I miss your 15-minute videos breaking down the game. Like, why don't you do that anymore? And so I'm just gonna put like break it up on the time thing like
Yeah.
that.
It's good, yeah. Yeah, I try to fluctuate both live and regular videos too. I mean, they both have their perks and stuff too. Like you said, I got three of these little kids running around, so it's like, yo,
That's what I mean. I only have one 6-year-old, but it's hard to. I can't really come up here and stream when he's awake. That's why I got to be after usually 8 o'clock. But I lost track of time today. Um, but yeah, when he's in that house, I can come up here and bang out a 10-minute video opinion piece about something. But I can't sit up here for 2 hours.
I know.
He'll burn the house down. A 6-year-old will be down there. I don't know.
True, but that's the thing. I got my wife is downstairs all the time, so I have a little side business, and so my wife got the luxury of only working 2 days a week for 4 hours a day, and she still makes decent money. So it's like, what I mean, it's cool. Uh, but she's with the kids. But yeah, sometimes when I'm up here, and I told her I was like, I was like, yo, listen, DJ's only gonna be on for an hour before he get I'll be done by 10 o'clock, and so I be lying sometimes. But it
It's
is what it is.
11:48.
I know, but they're all sleeping downstairs because they got school and all that. So I'm gonna have to just slide up in there. You know what I mean? Act like I'm in here. What do you mean? I just went to the bathroom, hit it with one of them real quick. Hopefully she's sleeping. But shout out to everybody in the chat. The Eagles will beat the Raiders. Just kidding. We'll talk about that all this week. Go ahead, DJ. Say what you got to say. We still got like 200 some people. And again, we're on 2 channels. Subscribe to both channels.
Yeah, man. Subscribe to both channels, man. If you're following me, subscribe to Philly Mike. Follow Philly Mike. Subscribe to me. My name's DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly. Recently, I'm the most negative Eagles fan you'll ever meet. I'm not always like that. Don't worry about it. But I like debate. I like opinions. I like different personalities and opinions and perspectives. And, that's why I do this YouTube thing, man, the interaction. You know what I mean? If we agreed all the time and me and the subscribers and everybody just agreed on everything, it gets boring. You know what I mean? Somebody called in yesterday defending Ben Simmons on a call in. I was so excited because I'm like, finally, I get to have this argument live with somebody on the phone because I'm tired of people agreeing with me all the time. So, if you can handle objectivity, man, let's have it. Let's have the conversation.
And it's always good to agree to disagree because whether you think this is best for the Eagles, someone thinks this is best for the Eagles, it's only to get the best for the Eagles. That's where we both agree to disagree and come back to agree with. But with that being said, it was fun. Appreciate everybody who came through. Definitely hit the like button on the way out and get me one of these. EAGLESE